Sanitation Police Service.
Oh, well, before we do this, are we on?
That is.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Commissioner.
To do this, we thank you, Father, for first and foremost your protection over President Trump this weekend, Lord, and just your divine providence and intervention. And I pray for continued safety for candidates running for any type of office, from the federal down to the local level, against inflammatory rhetoric and that is so prevalent during this season. And pray that you just give us wisdom and discernment and guide us and lead us on how to make the best decisions that we can on behalf of the taxpayers we're called to represent, and dealing with these budgets, Lord. And pray for your mercies and grace to overflow us. And thank you for your peace and rest, and that we can rest confidently in you and your Holy Spirit to guide us in all things. And we bless your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Mansfield. Without objection, I would like to add, under the report of the county mayor, I'll just go ahead and add there, discussion of potential need to purchase a vehicle due to a recent accident. So without objection, I'd like to add that, and I would entertain a motion to approve. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Miss Charlene Allmiller.
Hi, is it okay if I speak right here?
That's fine.
I noticed that last time, whenever you had tried to include the ARPA funds for Hendersonville and Millersville, that Common Thread recommended that if you pass it for Hendersonville, that you would restrict any rate increases on it. And I just want to caution you that rate making for public utilities is like solid law. There's nothing that you guys can do about it. And actually, Millersville increased their rates in 2020 in order to accommodate the grant that they're getting for their sewage system. They already have money in there, and that's fine if we're using ARPA to subsidize. I'm totally fine with that, but I'm just saying that, like, you can try to interfere with rates, but if you're going to condition it on rate making is solid law. You're not going to be able to like interfere with the rate making that's set by a state. Okay, and then I would really appreciate if you guys could reconsider the library funding to increase the hours by 4 hours per week, if at the option of the libraries. I have been doing this. I've been getting signatures, and I've gotten at least 200 signatures, and I'm still going to continue until July 29th for getting signatures of people that are interested in having the libraries have the option of being open an additional 4 hours per week. And thank you for having that idea.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Miss Joanna Daniels. Kim, you don't look like Miss Joanna Daniels. I saw you coming on. I'll sit down then. Go ahead.
We're twinsies, totally.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Joanna Daniels. I'm the chair of the Library Board of Sumner County. And just wanted to let you guys know, I think you all received this in an email today. And I also sent an email on Thursday to David Line, Commissioner Shove, Jessica, and I can't remember else. But anyways, on Wednesday we had a library board meeting, and we actually did look at the budgets. And we were able to approve the budgets and ask the library directors if they had any needs or anything like that. And the one that we can address right now is the Hendersonville Library. And Hendersonville Library is the only library that actually, it was almost about $25,000 have been taken away from them. And that, even though after giving money for the COLA and all that as well. So initially, $25,000 have been taken away. I came here in June, and luckily we were able to get about $20,000 back. And I sent you guys a budget that we approved and went over at the library board on Wednesday. Alicia, who is the director of Hendersonville, really needs to have 2 part-timers. One for custodian, because you guys took away all janitorial money, which was $24,000. And so she wants to do someone for part-time for custodial and cleaning, which they do that in Portland as well, and I guess also in Westmoreland. And then another part-timer. what we did, if you saw, and I do have copies if you didn't print those out. We've taken money from other line items. We diminished her furniture allocation, her periodicals and all that. We just asked that the remaining $4,000 that was still taken away from her is in the budgets you guys sent to us for review. She was going to lose $4,000, I think it was $900 and some dollars, once again, $4,275. We're just asking that $4,275 come back into her budget, and we're only asking for an additional $494 from the county. That would give her the money that she needs for her two part-timers, and we've adjusted everything else. And so we're just asking for you to give her back the monies that she lost this year, that was taken away, and an additional $494. And if we can't get the additional $494, we'll work hard to find it somewhere. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, my report is minimal today. Just want to, we have a fairly lengthy agenda, and then we are going to be rolling into a joint session. So I know that there are a lot of folks here who I know have several good items that they want to present here, but I am going to be somewhat hardcore in keeping us to 5-minute time limits as we speak. Not trying to cut people off, not trying to keep you from speaking, but just trying to move us along in an efficient way. That's really my report. Mr. Mayor, do you want to tell us about this vehicle?
Okay, our maintenance supervisor was involved in an accident today which totaled out the county vehicle. So we're gonna need to purchase another vehicle. We don't have an extra one.
Do we have an estimate? Do we have anything?
It was a
You know,
pickup truck, right?
It was a
Jeff?
pickup truck, a base model pickup truck, I would think is 40,000 now. I really don't know,
Yeah.
but.
Maybe 50 or 60, but yeah. Depends. If it's a strip model, maybe you can get one.
Yeah,
for
we
40.
buy the base models.
Okay,
Like trucks. So, maybe up to 50 and,
You had it under his appeal.
Yeah, I think we just put it under.
Make sure we don't forget it.
Let's just put it under.
And we can pull it out at the same
Okay.
And
time.
there, we can just, we'll just handle
That's
it.
fine.
That's
Also, you
right.
can also you can remind everybody what
Go ahead.
We've got a lot of vehicles out in the parking lot. None of them will suffice.
they're all used. Everything's accounted for.
Okay.
We'll handle this one under your control.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Long, go ahead.
First is other interbudgetary. These are items that are moved based on the purchasing policy in the month of June. After the last meeting before this, and they are to cover things, there was some emergency repairs that had to be made because of a lightning strike, and several items were down. And then there was also some small miscellaneous items and just some transfers to keep the construction of the, we're finishing up the courthouse and garage, I guess, the occupation of it. And we usually, even though they're under policy for me to go ahead and do it, I just ask for the committee's approval anyway.
Okay, I think we need to vote on that. Right?
Well, I usually ask you to.
That's
Per
fine. I mean,
policy.
I get it. Good. I didn't take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion, we have a second? I'll second it. Any discussion on this one? These are all map things, right?
They are all just that line item transfers, and part of them are caused by emergencies. Which could be,
But it's a net neutral.
neutral, just line item adjustments, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Go ahead, Mr. Long.
Second item, I put a few statutes just to go over them really quickly to make sure everybody's on the same page today. The first one is, we'll just say section 402, the last two numbers on it. It talks about the actual presentations. Several of the, if you go back to item, second page, it would actually be, what these things are, A, B, C, D, 6 and 7 at the very back of the very first statute. Two things I wanted to point out for some of these departments, this is the second presentation, so it will be the last one before it's consolidated in with the budget committee, and adjusting those, whatever you see fit legally should be fine. My only concern is, and I've actually talked to the county law director some too, if you adjust departments that aren't here, then what it's potentially gonna do is it's gonna allow them for their second hearing, and two things happen. You have to have 10 business days after you do the adjustment and they're notified, so it'll take us a day or two, so we're talking another budget committee meeting somewhere about 14, 16 days out. So if any adjustments.
From now?
Yes, because they gotta have time, they're given 10 business days to give you another presentation. Anybody that's here that's actually doing their second presentation, you can adjust it however you see fit, as long as it's legal. Number two, the education budget. When you do have the joint education committee, the education committee will do doing a support, yes, words for or against, but the actual up and down vote statutory by this committee. If this committee votes down the education budget tonight, it goes directly to the county commission. What that means is and I got the other statute in here, if you vote it down tonight, we have to have it back from the education, and they're going to have, for the school board to hear this and everything, they have 10 business days. To meet your publication, which is 10 days before, not 10 business days, but 10 days before the commission considers it, we're gonna have to have it in the paper. To do that, we have to have it tomorrow morning by noon. So if the education budget is voted down tonight, or if you make any changes to any departments that aren't here, then we need to discuss moving everything to August. And you may actually want to discuss the fourth Monday in August, because two things, I won't be here the third one. And then also, you're gonna have a very tight time frame with the 10 business days and the publication.
Can, Mr. Vaughn, can you, and when it comes to the school budget, can you maybe elaborate also on what we discussed over the phone about what triggers if?
Couple of things happen.
Go ahead.
And these statutes are here, let's go over them. Tonight is their second presentation. The first one was voted down by not voting it, basically. This one's their second one. If it's voted down, it goes directly to county commission. If you do not get an agreement by August 31st with the school department, then what the statute reads is it goes to MOE and the minimum amount required by batching. So if you guys are talking about the 7.5 and they bring in a budget and you don't get an agreement, it gets voted down in August, it automatically by operational law goes back to MOE. The problem we have.
Everybody tracking that?
The other one is, and I've got the appropriation statute, it's these other ones we kind of got ahead, but they all work together. If we do not approve the county's budget by September 1 and we don't have state's approval, and I've been told in the past by the state, because they can't give approval of something short of an earthquake, we're not getting approval. That means September 1, we don't have appropriations to continue legally. So it means everything pretty much stops. So a budget in one form or another by the county has to be approved by August 31st. The failure to approve a school budget will by operation of law bring it back to MOE, but the county will not do that. And that covers all 4 of those statutes.
Is there any need discussing that information? Entertain a motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Second.
Aye. Mr. Mansfield.
My quick question, just can you explain to us the reason why the school budget can't be done separately from the county budget?
When you bring them all forward, you mean you want to try to approve them separately?
We'll do one month and another next month.
Your private act says you bring forward a tax levy and a budget, and I believe it mentions education. We'll need to look at that really closely. Let's look at that real closely. It's actually, I'll put the section in here. Pull that section out. You mean go ahead and try to approve the county one and
Yeah, the
tax
question was
levy?
posed to me by a constituent, so I wanted to ask it. Just, I didn't think we could based on the private act. but wanted to verify.
We'll look really closely right now. Okay. And the private act talks about it right here. I would think it would be questionable, because what your private act says, it says, with the proposed budget, the budget committee shall deliver to the county legislative body a budget appropriation resolution and tax levy. It doesn't really state, but I would think the full appropriation resolution does include education in there.
So your
I
logic
think you'd be in a
is-
very gray area.
Well, your logic is because county funding for the schools is nested under the full appropriations that are driving the tax rate.
Yes.
It would have to be, okay.
So you could approve a tax rate potentially with them in there, because you could set their tax rate. My thing is, it says you'll deliver with the budget and appropriation resolution tax
And the
rate.
budget would not be complete without.
And I don't think the appropriation resolution would be complete without the school appropriation.
You don't fully know what you need yet.
Yeah, I get it, I get it. Mr.
I'm just
Klein?
gonna throw some spaghetti at the wall, but in 2019, didn't something change with the Pride Act regarding the school budget, their school finance department?
That part didn't change.
Okay, so that changed, but this was
This
not a
section,
party to it?
no.
Okay.
This particular
checking.
section. It was more to them moving their financials over, not to do with publications and presentations of the budget.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a separation that was created by that
A lot of
change.
areas it says if the schools are included, and that's something we could go back and look closely, but then the same thing, you're gonna have to look really close at the statutes too for the actual general law too. I think you'd be in a very, very gray area.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Any other questions on this one?
Thanks for,
All right, thanks, David. Okay, any further notes, Mr. Long, before we close out your business?
Well, here's the other issue I think that would prevent us from moving forward. This would definitely answer the question. If the budget's voted down tonight, I've got to put in a paper of general circulations 10 days before you consider it, which would have to be tomorrow morning, the full proposed budget, which would include the education. The education, if it's voted down, will have to go back to the school board to determine are they gonna send the same budget or a different budget. So I think the publication alone would prevent
We're passing it.
Yeah.
or at least make it a very
I mean, it's a
gray
good question.
area.
Yeah, great question.
It'd make it a very gray area. I mean, somebody could argue you could do that, but,
Sure, yeah.
but that particular statute that it names the general purpose school fund is one of them that you publish.
Good deal. Thank you.
So, Mr. Long, any further notes?
That would be it.
Okay. Moving on to old business, City of Gallatin, $907,000 outstanding for the parking garage. I'd entertain a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to hop in on this one, but Mr. Mayor, I may ask you for an update on this.
I don't have an update on
Go ahead, Mr. Klein.
I would ask Mr. Sittler if he has any additional information on
Mr.
this.
Sidler? The $907,000 from Gallatin.
The gears are working.
Are we talking about the wastewater part?
No, we're talking
or
about the
power
half,
part?
the second half that the city committed to the construction costs.
Oh,
of
oh,
the parking
correct.
structure.
I facilitated the contract. The contract's been approved and executed, I believe. So I have not followed up beyond that because I wouldn't really know what I'm
It's
following
a
up
different
on.
one he's talking
it. I'll
about.
be happy to call the mayor.
This is before your time. This is the original amount
Oh,
to
Yeah.
be toward the original construction.
The
not this
city
last
was
number.
going to contribute roughly $2 million to the hard costs of the parking structure. They've given half of that. And I believe they were waiting until it was completed, which it has now been complete for 2 weeks.
then if I was tasked with doing something I do not recall, so I'm not sure what I was.
Here's what we do. Mr. Mayor, will you just reach out to that mayor, and if we don't get hear anything back, Mr. Sidler, we'll get with you to
Okay.
put together a formal request.
Okay.
That makes sense? Okey dokey.
It's about two.
Any other discussion on this one? I think we've got what we need there. Alrighty. Moving on to new business, item A, did we get approval from on the field stripping machine
No,
lease?
that was put back into old business. We had questions there, and I don't know why it got on here.
Okay.
Our
so-
agenda's ready before you got it.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll, unless there's anything we want to move, we'll just move forward with that and move on to old business. Okay? Mr. Mayor, emergency purchase for the lightning strike on the, at the ECC. And Mr. Widener, I know you tried to get a hold of me earlier today. I'm sorry I was not able to get to your call.
Part of this is just reporting, because when there's an emergency purchase, it's not approval, it's just the mayor has to report it or whoever approved it. And then the other question is, I think Mr. Widener's asking about some of the insurance funds that's gonna be recovered. He wanted into the budget.
Can you elaborate on that one?
They should be included, let's see.
29,000.
There were some emergency POs, but then I think there's 29,000 and 12,000, some of them, I got the amounts right here. But there's one amount for 12,620.81, I think it's at Beach.
Yeah, I don't have the money, I've got to be able to pay the contractor. We've already received the money from 29,585 from insurance, it's gonna be positive. The claim's been made for, $14,202.96 for each. I should be getting a check on it pretty soon. But I've got that money to be able to pay the contract.
So the question is, do you want us to go ahead and add it to next year? Because it was all after June 30, correct?
The payments were after June 30th.
'Cause you,
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead, Mr. Widener.
So thank you. The ECC strike was before the end of the, and then
June 20th.
the beach strike, was in July.
but the 29th, the work started on the 29th.
29,585.
Was started in July, though, it started, you know, you started the work after June 30.
I've sent all that in prior emails, so,
We couldn't tell for sure when you started the work.
yeah.
We're assuming it didn't just start.
It'll be the same as the PO's cut for whatever that was in on the damage at the ECC. This is just the communications equipment inside the ECC, which I have insured. And then beach was in July.
With the June one, if it was ordered in June, we're gonna have to push that back into last year, and it may actually run the budget over, I don't know.
But you've already got the money for it. It's in county funds.
What I'm saying is, if you actually told them to proceed with the work back on June 30, that's an expense
I had
for
to.
last year.
That's on, we're still talking about radio.
That's why it's an emergency.
Well,
We have
so-
to keep our radios
I mean,
operational.
I get it. So,
I don't know,
I mean,
I think we're just about to pay it.
we just have to we just have to backfill.
So we'll just have to pay it, and then we'll put the revenue in last year and the expenses, and hope it.
Yeah, we can't wait for a month or two.
So that was
I mean, that's not, I
Communications, but-
mean,
If he done the work last year, it's kind of a moot point, we'll just go ahead and pay his bill as long as somebody.
what's the total bill?
29,000.
29,000, Mr. Klein?
And you got the revenue.
What was the $250 deductible?
That's what the deductible is.
Well, then doesn't the insurance pay the rest?
But then what he's saying is.
Oh, we gotta pay
he
it
cut the
and then-
check, And then we're gonna get it.
We'll get it all
We haven't
back.
cut the check yet, we're getting ready to pay the
You've already
vendor.
got 29,585 from the
Okay.
ECC strike.
So
It's
probably,
positive.
unless you guys object, we're gonna go ahead and cut the check to the vendor, because if he ordered the work last year,
I think that, yeah.
We're gonna have to go ahead and
Hold on,
pay it.
let's go ahead and, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
and then the 12,
And that was for the
Are you getting
29, that was for the 29,000.
now the 12/6/2081 will be in this coming year.
It's 14,202.96, because we had generator repair from a separate vendor.
Yeah.
Give me the exact,
1582.15,
what's the exact amount you get back, 14, do you think?
14,202.96.
And how much you're paying?
I'm sorry.
Is that the amount you're paying too, or
That's
just,
the total. I haven't paid any of that.
so how much you get back for insurance, that minus 250?
14,202.96 minus 250 deductible.
So it's just the 250 deductible, but, okay.
So, well, the thing
So
is,
that must add it, yeah.
it's in this coming year, so the question
fine.
is, do you want us to add it to
We'll
revenue
just add it.
expenditures when we get down to his budget?
That's what we'll do. We'll add that one to next year's budget. We just took a vote. I'm gonna give it the second reading to do the previous one to previous year's budget.
But I don't have
Well,
a
we can't do it, the
line.
budget will have to run over. Can't just-
Well, that's fine.
I don't have a line for deductible, so I'm asking for the full amount. So,
It's 250, that's fine. Just
So it'd be expense of 14,202 and revenues that minus 250.
That's fine.
Whenever we get to his budget,
That's fine.
you want to do it on his
Well,
year?
before we do that, yeah, we'll just do that one with this year's budget. That's what we're gonna do with this one. What we'll do is someone to get the second reading for the previous one, just so we can go ahead and do it.
Just, on the other one, just say you're aware that I'm gonna be paying the next year's budget. I don't know if he's got 29,000 extra last year's budget.
Can you do that?
This is the only choice.
I know
we
we're
have.
it's,
Anytime you do, like he orders it or buy something in prior year, it becomes that year's expense, it don't matter what happens. Once he made that order,
all
it
right.
don't matter.
We took a vote on it. It's fine. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Klein.
confused. We got the check for 29,335 already. All we're budgeting is $250 for the deductible.
No, okay, the 29 we're gonna have to pay, it is a full payment for $29,000.
But we've got that all, we've already
We've
got
got
it
the
in
money
bank.
back, so you've got your money, that's
Right.
fine. The issue is,
We-
once you close a year, you can't go back and adjust the budget. He spent this money last year because the tower
He had to have
got
it.
struck by lightning last year. So when I go back, probably in a day or two, we're gonna pay that. I'm just making you guys aware that when we pay it, it's gonna run his budget over more than likely
From last year.
from last year now.
But we're
The-
making up the difference.
But the
this year.
net is $250.
Yeah, the net is $250, so it's.
No, the 29's from, he
That's
hadn't
right.
spent the 29 yet, he said he hadn't
All right,
paid anything.
I think we
with the
can-
PO.
There's not a
Cover.
PO. Do you have a PO for the 29?
I don't have the money. I can't get a PO.
So that's what I'm saying, unless we, and I don't think we have extra in county bills, so it'll probably just run his budget over, but it's an expense we owe.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So it's kind of one of those things you run into, it's expensive last year, we're gonna have to pay, you can't adjust the budget, so we're gonna end up paying it one way or the other.
But yeah, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, we just voted to do it.
Right, well, I'm just saying, you just say you're aware of this.
I mean, I just don't see what the problem is.
There's not, other than you're gonna overrun your budget.
That's, I mean, but, okay.
I just tell you, we can't adjust into this year's budget.
I mean, who made the motion?
I made the motion, waive the second reading here.
And that's
Good with that?
second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we're good.
So what about the 12?
Well, the 12, we're gonna handle it with this.
When you do his
When we
hearings.
do his hearings, right? I mean, because that's a different scenario.
Jessica, can you note the 12 and John's to make sure we don't forget either one during the hearing?
We need to note that one in the vehicle.
In the vehicle,
Both of those. Okay, so we got those. Resolution to amend the state subdivision of opioid abatement. This is, go ahead, this one.
My understanding is this is the way we can participate in the new settlements, correct?
Is this the Kroger one?
Yes.
I'll have to look.
That's the way we can get the funds from the new
Yes,
settlements?
we got hit with this last minute and quick turnaround time from the state to participate in this bankruptcy settlement. So I had to run it through,
General. Legislative.
yeah, legislative.
Legislative.
And just so we can participate in the plan, all of this has to be submitted by the first part of August, so that's why it's hitting quick.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring us back into our rules. Go ahead. Any other notes on this? All right. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okey-dokey.
Items 4A through E are just leases, and they actually have the terms highlighted. They're multi-year leases with things the county's always done, such as Westlaw, Comcast, and various other items that we really have to
Is
do.
anything jumping out at us on these?
No, it's just because they're multi-year contracts, you need
Yeah.
approval.
No, like major increase, no.
Nothing outside their budget, and at the same time, I don't think we want to shut down the Comcast line.
No, I
or anything.
don't.
Just-
I just.
Motion to group and approve.
It's already
All in favor?
budgeted too.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Motion to approve tax refunds.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Is this the
Motion carries
pool?
unanimously.
Yes,
All right,
the
let's
pool.
have a recess. It's good.
That's the fastest budget meeting we've ever had.
Well, the next part,
Yeah.
I wish we could just tack this on to
The fastest budget, that was the budget, that's our monthly budget. It's not the budget hearings. All right, so now we're waiting, I guess, till education. Yeah. We got 30 minutes. That was our normal budget meeting.
I know. Well, it's not as good.
Yeah, it's under I, D2I. Okay, coming back here, I'm gonna try to move as quickly as we can. Please note, during the budget hearings, for the initial presentation, we'll be keeping time on those. But we have a good bit of business before we need to go, before we even get into that. So, item number D1A, building permits resolution for increasing the multiplier. Mr. Vaughn, can you give us the details on that one?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We send it this month or next month? July?
Send it now.
July, okay.
Okay, budget for EMA communication system.
The other one's a net neutral. It's basically, they were all classified under one item. They need to be paid in another. And if you see the spreadsheet, can we just
So moved.
classify the items?
Second.
Do we need to waive a second reading? Or-
No, it's just adjusting the budget. We'll adjust it.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opioid appropriation, go ahead.
Item C, there's two things. They want to spend $40 out of administrative, the committee, and there's a few misclassifications between the line items. It's a net neutral.
It's net neutral.
Just correct the
Entertain a motion.
classifications.
Move.
So move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. This one might be a little bit more detailed. Can you give us a little bit more on the insurance?
On that
premiums?
page, there's an Excel sheet that shows the insurance premiums where they can be decreased. Talking to Ms. Browning, we just now determined that Mr. Widener's was not included in the total given to us, which is, so let's look at the pages, page 458. Now I will show you what we're talking about. Okay, starts on page 458, but if you go to page, there it is.
15,000?
I've got a sheet that looks like this right here. It should have been in everybody, we may not have got it in time. Let me just give you the gist of it. Right now, Mr. Widener's there, based on our most recent estimates, if you look under your liability line items under workers' comp and liability in the budget, we believe there's about $220,000 extra dollars in the liability and about $100,000 extra in the workers' comp line. We're just asking you to let us decrease those in the budget.
What's the total amount?
But Kansas not included.
Well, you gave me 263 and 129, so if we do, because there's gonna be some, your mid-year audit, so if we do 250 and 100, there should be plenty. If you look, so Justin, we're wanting to decrease that one by 200 and decrease that by 100, so we're wanting to decrease the self-insurance insurance by $300,000 out of the budget.
And that's because we have a surplus in there.
We've got the, earlier, Ms. White was still waiting on the quotes from the insurance carriers. The reinsurance numbers came back cheaper than we thought, significantly.
Great.
And
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
yeah, we already told them.
Okay, say $300,000 there.
Yep, love to do that.
Okay, tourism revenues and ARPA issues. I'll start on this one, and Mr. Lawn, I'll hand to you if there needs to be any further clarification. So my understanding here, my initial proposal that we all agreed to was that we were gonna move approximately $200,000. We were gonna reduce $200,000 from the tourism department, and we were going to set aside an equivalent amount in capital for the volunteer fire departments. What we have since learned that may change how we want to operate, how we want to deal with this, is that the tourism, if we are to remove that $200,000, I believe that we may miss out on an additional $200,000 of grants. So the net change to the tourism department from what they were expecting was approximately $400,000. Mr. Vaughn, can you kind of confirm what I'm saying here?
Here's the spreadsheet, and the thing that's brought up the concern, and we weren't aware of it until now, it was a letter back in October 6, 2022, and I'm not sure why anyone wasn't made aware of, but if you look at the last line, it says organizations that allow a tourism budget cut through the life of the program will no longer be eligible for Tennessee Tourism Hospitality Recovery Funds. If you look on page 475, it's $381,718. My concern is twofold. Number one is if you look at the highest year, it's $744,834, but it included $27,500 in one-time funds. If you look at 24, we actually went down to $731,680, so we may have already done that. But in any case, if we don't bring it back up to $731,680 or $744,834, we've clearly decreased the funding. But the twofold question, one, I'm not sure why anybody wasn't made aware of it until this point. And number two, I'm not sure we haven't actually decreased it.
Ms. Mansfield?
So, a private act says we have to fund them $350,000.
You're meeting that, but this is a requirement of ARPA funding that they're receiving.
For a federal grant.
Yeah, it's ARPA funding they're receiving, it's $380-some thousand total right now, $381,718, and they've already received, I believe, around 180-ish. And there's discussions that there may be additional funding available. For that funding, they've got to do certain things, which I don't believe they've done yet, but they have received several reimbursements.
So a lot of times in these federal grants, there will be restrictions and contingencies put upon it, so that you don't use offset your recurring with that, diminishing funds over time. I mean, it's the spirit of it makes sense. You don't want to build a recurring budget based on what could be 1, 2, or 3 time funds. So I understand that. I'm going to make a motion on this, but go ahead.
And to be clear, they are not a County department, they're a component unit, so based on some requests, we have looked at it lightly. We've talked to one of the commissioners and from the board about possibly, since the board wants us to look at it closer for them as a county, but right now, we do have concerns. If you don't do the matching, you are gonna lose the funds, and you may have potentially already, we need to find out.
I'm gonna make a motion here to maintain them at, 731,680, and also to set aside $200,000 in capital one time, to the volunteer fire departments.
Additional what's in the budget.
So, motion, second, motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? All in favor? Okay.
Is that an additional what's in the budget for the volunteer fire department?
Well, we're gonna set aside, we're gonna set aside the capital, for the set aside capital for volunteer fire departments. We're not gonna have, so you can strike what's there.
So you're talking to look at what's already in there?
Yeah,
You wanna-
we can do it, I mean.
Can you pull those up?
Reducing capital by 200,000.
Reduce capital by 200,000.
Or you pull it from hospital funds.
So you're wanting to pull from the general fund to capital, or are you giving an additional 200,000?
No, not an additional, not an
Okay.
additional. You would reduce, well, where's it coming from now? No.
Out of the general fund?
138,000.
So we would take that out of the general fund.
Okay, let's go down there and look and see what they got.
What, no. So the
They have
138,000.
138, and they give them
That's,
the the
that's how much
radios
we
and
get
stuff.
we give them every year, correct?
No,
Well,
they
you
get
not-
24,000 apiece.
Yeah, plus the 138.
Well, the 138 used to be inclusive of the radio maintenance fees. You gave them the radio maintenance fees as an additional this year.
Correct.
The
So it's a bit
138,
more.
and I think you put some more in, that's what.
Yeah, it's that other change. I just want it to come from capital instead of the general fund.
She's trying to locate it right now.
Because we're thicker on capital.
Obviously.
Everyone that's not hyperlinked, we went in order with them, so. They're not hyperlinked. Sorry. So we're gonna change that one first to
So that gets changed to 731,680.
680. She also needs to change the,
Now we should go to. Now go to volunteer fire departments.
I think they're down, Beth, if I'm not mistaken.
Rural fire protection.
Yeah, that's them.
That's it right here, 141.
I didn't get their details. There you go. They were given additional 200. So you want to remove that
I want to
200,000?
remove that and then
Okay.
move it, and then add it in capital.
Okay.
So it's the same thing, it's just coming out of
Well,
capital.
here's-
Because I want to balance the general fund.
Here's my only concern. And maybe and the county law director may not have the same concern. We're levying a tax that's called capital projects for county and school government. When we give it to the volunteer fire department, we're not actually buying a capital asset, we're just gonna be giving them cash. So it may be better to leave the 200 here and just move $200,000 more property tax into the general fund versus the capital fund. It may be a lot cleaner.
I mean, I guess I'm okay with that, but I'm also like, couldn't they just submit a list of requests? And they could, basically have a list of requests, then we'd approve it off of that capital expenditure?
The county won't have any capital assets for a capital levy.
It needs to be general.
All right, that's fine.
That's what I'm thinking,
That's
so
fine.
probably if we could
That's
put that,
fine.
could we just increase property
That's fine.
tax by 200,000 in general, and decrease it by 200,000 over in capital?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, it's the same, it's the same.
It does the same
It does the
thing.
same thing, that's fine. That's fine.
And it's a lot
So I'm
cleaner.
gonna change, I'm in my motion, because earlier I said that it was coming from capital, to instead shift from capital to general, add the 200,000 from general, keep that at the volunteer fire departments, and add the 200,000 back to the,
So moved.
motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay,
You need to change the insurance on it, and just.
Yeah, Beth, go ahead and pull that insurance down too.
It's frozen.
Is it frozen? Okay. Yeah, and it's about the time where some backups going on.
all right, Mr. Wine, while we're doing that, can we go ahead and move on to the assistant district, the VA salary?
Let's move on that.
Page 476.
We've received some information because we pay, and it was for the, when we got the last judge, it was an agreement, it was part of it. that we will pay for one employee for the district attorney's office. And when anything you pay for the district attorney's office, you actually have to match for the public defender if they request it. So on page 476, we have the original amount and what's requested now. They weren't aware of the step increase, and so 76 where it starts. And you can actually see it on page 478. They have in the budget right now 88,961.59. They need $94,900.59, and that would be for the DA's employee and for the,
What's the fully wrapped amount?
it's the difference of those two, about $10,000 for both of them. Is that correct? It's about 12 actually.
Motion.
About 12. And that was part of it when we took the last judge and were required to do it.
Yeah.
There was a requirement.
We're getting a courtroom and we're paying for it.
And then there's a new statute, anything you give to the,
To the
you gotta match.
prosecutor's office, you gotta go to the defender's office.
This has to do with the new state,
No, this is the judge before,
that.
yeah, a couple years back.
and why is it only coming up now?
The amount changed, the amount they sent us
Oh.
earlier
Oh,
needs to be
so this
adjusted.
is an increase.
They made a request to adjust it because we're gonna end up increasing during the year if we don't now.
This is required by law. Yeah.
Yes.
What was the amount?
It should be $94,901. And the one below it should match. It's those two right there.
There's not much. I entertain a motion. Second, any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Go
I-
ahead, Mr. White.
Item G is completely flow-through money. It's a DGA. We did not have it earlier, so there's really two ways we can do it. Just make the changes after this meeting and you approve the changes because it'll have a zero net change. Or you could do it as an amendment directly after you approve the budget in August.
What's a DGA?
Direct grant access, it goes to the health department. 100% funded by the state. Did not have the numbers, we received them the other day.
Okay.
So
So
I think the cleanest would be to leave the budget as it is and to do a resolution immediately after you adopt the budget to adjust up revenue expenditures.
Say that again.
You could leave the budget as it is and we could just have a resolution that after the budget and you immediately amend it to these
Okay,
numbers.
so do we need to do anything with this right now then?
You can't, not really. We
All
can
right,
just do
so
it.
let's punt, I mean, it's
Punt to August.
let's punt that to old business.
State's giving them
County clerk can increase Comcast fees, I think those are nominal.
Yes, they're nominal, she needs them, and also it comes out of her data processing fees, so it's a net neutral at the end
All
of
right,
the day.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
The next one is the school has some bond balances they've not been able to spend, they're not carried over to next year's budget, but they're bond money, we need to spend them quickly. It'll increase the reserve, and it's from issued bonds, so I'm just asking to move that over to the 25 budget. Those two
How much
small
is it?
amounts. On page, they're very small. Page 507 and 508.
2,000.
Yeah, they're two small amounts.
2,732. All right.
And 32,500.
Is there a motion? How much? 30?
Yeah, they're right one on top of the other. They're on that. They're right here on these sheets if you look on that. And they haven't had a chance to utilize those funds, so we just want to carry them over to next year's budget.
Okay.
We have a motion,
Motion.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Updated salary survey, is there anything we need to do with this?
No, they always had a request from the commissioners to include it because we got a new one. In the packet, there's only 2 pages in there. We put the wrong thing in there, so as the attachment number B, there is, this one from Burris and Associates, just like you had at the budget
Yeah.
agenda. We have copies for everybody if you so wish to have them.
Okay, I don't know that we need to do anything with that.
And K is just the salary tables for your information if you need them for tonight's meeting. And then just to bring up that the revenues for that $900-some thousand are used to balance your capital projects budget right now, waiting for.
So we have a.
You've already dealt with that.
We already dealt with that one. The county mayor's gonna take a shot, and then after that, we'll go down the path of the law office.
So I think you're down to budget here.
Okay, so we're at hearings. Let's go ahead and hear from the, entertain a motion to suspend the rules so that we can hear.
Motion.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Please keep it to 5 minutes. I know that's a lot to ask, but we're trying to move relatively quickly. I assure you, we will be talking about these at some length during the workshop process. Miss, we can do the election commission. Hello.
If you prefer I stand somewhere.
This is fine, however you want to be.
Okay, so, we submitted our budget, we came to one meeting, we'll have a workshop on the 20th, and then we received a notice from finance that our budget had been adjusted. So it was reduced approximately $611,000. Some of the primary things that were reduced, and these were arbitrary, I don't understand why, but, poll workers, rentals, instructional materials, janitorial services, legal notices. These are things, not the janitorial services, but the others are legally required to run the elections. You can't just not pay the poll workers. So you can't just not provide instructional materials to the poll workers. You can't not provide the legal notices and put them in the paper as legally required. So what was reduced is what are statutorily 212-109A1 required to run the election. So all I'm here this evening to ask you is to reinstate the budget that was approved by the election commission and submitted.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is that it?
That's it.
I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has.
Any questions? Mr. Long, did you have any notes on that? I would actually like to hear from our law director and from our finance director on the question of the statutory requirements here.
And if I may, I might just add, we're in litigation already, as you're all fully aware. So if that's something that needs to be taken up by the court, that can be done there as well if you prefer. Thank you.
Do we have a statement from what we just heard? A
No,
commentary?
there are statutorily provided for portions of her budget that have to be paid.
Well,
I'm not sure, I have not gone through her budget, I have no idea what she's looking for. Or
So-
which,
Can we click on the line items were changed? Because I believe that you guys were looking on their earlier expenditures, I can't recall.
Yeah, I can't recall.
And I would just reiterate that this is a 2-election cycle budget. We rotate every year from 1 election cycle, every fiscal year that we're into 2 election cycle. This is a 2-election cycle, including a presidential.
Let's look at,
Can we look at some of these real quick?
we'd have to look, can you click on the line and see there should be amounts changed on them? Like, if you click on the line, there'll be an amount.
The majority of what we removed was around the TRC stuff.
Very, a lot of that was taken out.
Well, based on what I saw, the convenient vote sitters were taken out that was approved by the election commission. That's not a decision that the county commission gets to make. That's a decision the election commission gets to make. The county commission is required to fund that. And some of the salaries that were taken out, all the other departments received varying salaries. For some reason, ours were just across the board, each employee, regardless of tenure, responsibilities, or anything, were all given a $1,000 raise across the board, regardless of any of the different levels. And I don't believe that the salary survey would support that. I don't know how it could.
Are we looking at the
That processing services was $2,000.
what else was reduced?
These color ones, we go through them both, recolor them back.
And then the mayor may have something to add on this, but janitorial services were removed from 1019 Union School Road, but the maintenance department here said they were not gonna provide the services. So regardless of who's in the building, those services are gonna have to be provided. Is that correct, John?
yes, sir.
Okay.
I think the election workers will have to look back on the salary.
The election workers are the one that
We'll have to look
this
at
is
the-
all small stuff here.
It was for the election workers, poll workers were reduced by over $35,000. That would remove over 100 poll workers in the elections.
Let's look at back up to the poll workers, that's the one that keeps getting. Just go to the line item up here first and see what it looks like. 'Cause I don't, myself. 245 compared to 130, 234, 130, and 128.
So we.
I think you were
I think what we
comparing
did
it,
was we
compared it to,
2020, didn't we?
you compared it to another cycle.
Yeah, we compared it back to, yeah, like that right there. So,
And there's other ones you can unhide out there, like earlier years should be out there.
yeah, I mean, well, wait, so.
It's 234, it's 245.
Fiscal year 2020. 245. So, because we're trying to do it election, like 2-cycle election year to 2-cycle election year.
I think that's what you were doing.
So,
But then you also have to factor in some presidential.
So that would be which year? Go back and
Look at
unhide presidential.
2020.
Go unhide 2020, see what it looks like.
I think that's the number you used, and of course, we've grown since then, and
What's the number, where's 2020 at? Scroll. Yeah, sorry.
I had done freeze some pains, but.
I think that's what we did. So. Boom, 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 boom.
Hey, we'll have to freeze it up there, you. Get your 2020.
2020 is right. It's 130.
2021.
Oh, 2021, okay, so 250, yeah, okay, so go scroll that. Okay, well, what we probably should do is do 252, plus some factor to account for inflation there.
I think they're paid the same, aren't they? But we've grown.
we've grown.
They're paid the same, but we've picked up more people.
So, I
And we
mean,
added a precinct since
We,
then as
we
well.
probably do wanna bump that a bit. 252. And we probably wanna get, I mean, I would think we wanna get that close to 300. I mean, just to account for,
How much was it reduced? 35, you said?
Yes, sir. And
I
Chairman,
mean,
if
we-
you don't mind, Merrill Hyde, when he was we did this a couple years ago, when you all were all kind of new, said that, he just guaranteed we would pay our poll workers, that even if we operated a little in the negative, as long as we weren't.
No, I
David,
mean-
you can correct me if I'm wrong, and then we had to.
Really,
this was
really
one
just need
election.
to make it proper.
I would like to get, so how much did we cut from that line item?
35,000.
35, I mean, I would entertain a motion to add that 35,000 back in, seeing that it's probably in line with what the equivalent presidential election year is, accounting for some level of growth. So I'd entertain a motion to add 35,000 back into that line item. Second. Yeah, motion in a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. So we're adding that 35,000 back in. I mean, I think,
And the legal notices are required,
Point of order.
and media
Go,
is
we
just
don't
gone up
define minutes, I mean,
exponentially.
yeah, we need to move on this.
We'll do this in the workshop.
Let's go ahead and consider it in the workshop. You're right on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, planning and engineering, thanks, Jeremy. Keeping me informed. Got that right. Sorry. All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
My substance of coming before you guys today is related to the grant administrator position that's in my budget, Ms. Kim Workley. It was brought to my attention a couple weeks ago or several weeks ago that she was being moved over to the finance department. So, David, not a dig on you or anything like that. I've always valued the relationship that we have with you guys and your department. A little bit of background on this, as you guys might know, back in FY 2023, that position was moved from the mayor's office into my budget during the election time. that's just something that ended up happening. To be honest, I was a little skeptical of it at first, to be honest with you. That position being moved into my budget. But as she got to working with our department, with the county engineer, interacting with the things that we interact with and all the stuff that we do, it really made a lot of sense. It's made more sense over time since you guys have come on board. And you know, her title's grant administrator, but you guys aren't out chasing a lot of grants these days. I'm sure y'all noticed that, obviously. Most of what her position has really evolved into is a lot more of a construction-related kind of a position. And so a lot of what she deals with is project-centric, working with the county engineer. They're putting together bid specs today, finalizing bid specs for publication for the Hollows Drainage Project. She brings so much value to my department in terms of the knowledge that she has of all these different federal programs, all that goes into them, the requirements, what you can do and can't do, all that. So it fits. I'm being selfish, to be honest with you. We enjoy working with her. She does a good job for us. Great relationship. She has a great relationship with my department, obviously. We think a lot of her. But she works well with all the other departments in the county, too. She works really well with the mayor's office. Everybody from courts to EMS to everybody, they enjoy working with her. And of course, we're not jealous with her time or anything. She works with anybody that needs her expertise. Again, I thank y'all for the investments y'all made in my department over the last few years. I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. Not a knock on Mr. Long or anything like that, but with just respectfully request that y'all keep that position where it is in my department.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask a question? So the skills that she has, she's learned on the job. Because if she was a grant writer to begin with, now she's become a construction coordinator.
Well, I mean, I've talked to y'all before about the structure of county government and the way that it's kind of done in terms of, you don't have a purchasing department, you don't have a facilities department, you don't have those kinds of things. And so during her time in the mayor's office, she brought those skills with her to my department. I mean, she's learned a little bit about what we do, obviously, just being around our stuff, but I mean, she has been, neck deep in these projects for years and years, and knows as much about building and doing and bidding and doing those things as anybody in county government.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All righty, assessor's office. If there's one person less popular right now.
I have a handout for everybody if y'all have to take one and pass them around. My name is John Hurt, and I'll be representing the assessor's office this evening. I did not do this back in May because I didn't feel like it was appropriate at the time, but now that I'm getting closer to September 1, I feel that it is because this will be my budget. First thing I would like to ask is that the salary line items be returned to the original amounts requested in draft 1 of the budget to the full 11%, like the other constitutional offices here in the administration bill. If you were in my office during this reappraisal process, you would agree that these people deserve an 11% increase. And during a budget year where market adjustments and parity are being discussed, I feel like my office actually deserves this, and I would like to ask that of you. So if you'll look, the first page is the original draft 1 of the budget with the requested additional. It's got the COLA on there, of course, and it's got the requested additional there, as you can see. The next page is a spreadsheet, I think that Mr. Long had put together, his office had. And out at the end, these averages are averages from within Sumner County, if I remember correctly. Mr. Long, correct me if I'm wrong. And then at the very end, you can see in parentheses that where my people are below those averages. Quite a bit, actually. The 11% will not bring them to the average at all. Next sheet is positions and salaries from Wilson County Assessor's Office. The next one over is from Montgomery County. These are all for you all, for your information. I know we don't have time to go through all of it tonight. The next one's from Williamson County. and it's on 2 separate sheets. It has their grades there on the second sheet. The third is Rutherford County, and it's hard to go through, to be quite honest, but they sent it and I included it. And then the last one is the Burris Thompson Associates survey. I think that you all were using kind of as a guideline. And, you know, they've got, what happened was, we asked for the 11%. All of my clerks have been cut back to COLA. 6% was cut completely out. And then for my field men, commercial man, GIS personnel, were cut, the requested additional was cut by 3, so 5 plus 3 is the 8 that is showing on that one sheet that Mr. Long put together. You can see on the Burris, the GIS I have up here, that's under information systems in the Burris. It's not actually under the assessor's office, but it is comparable, I guess. The one thing I would say under the assessor's office at the clerk, I would not consider that to be correct, to be quite honest. I mean, not when you've got clerks in the county clerk, the deeds, and the trustee's office all right at 50,000. So, and also, you know, you're talking about years of service too. That needs to come into consideration. But, so that is my ask for that. The next sheet behind the Burris survey is an inventory of our vehicles in the assessor's office. First 2 are not in service and will be surplused. The 2 that are in question, the VIN number ends in 8683 and 2726. Both of those trucks are worth about $3,000 each right now, and they're still out doing work on the road. They're 17 years old. They have significant problems. The Ford is using oil right now. It's probably an engine failure waiting to happen. And the Chevrolet has got, you can read out to the side on the comments of what all's going on with it. He's actually putting a pillow in there because he's riding on a steel frame of the seat. So I think we've hit the point of diminishing returns for these trucks. One major repair for these, and we're going to be over what the truck is worth. So we requested in our original budget $80,000 for 2 new trucks. I would respectfully request that you reconsider that ask.
Is that an accurate price for what?
From what I saw of invoices from the last trucks that we bought, which were 22, I believe it was, we were able to get trucks, four-wheel drive with light packages on it. That's another thing, the safety, you know. They have lights on top and they have flashers for when they're doing review and all that, so hopefully nobody runs over the top of them. We were able to buy right at 38, I think it was. But that's been 2 years ago, too. So, you know, that might be cutting it close, but that's what we asked for.
Okay.
So, and I wish Commissioner Boyd was here tonight, because she had this last question. And also another thing, I mean, if the trucks are not possible, then I will need to add more money into my automotive maintenance, just to cover whether or not something goes wrong with one of these trucks and y'all want me to keep using them. So if trucks are not available, then I'd request, you know, another $10,000 in my automotive maintenance. And the last thing is TCA 67-1-506. If you look at the assessment summary page, on the right-hand side, you'll see our total parcel count for Sumner County is 93,825. I'll also let you look at or point you to the assessment total, which is $11.1 billion. which a lot of hard work and a lot of time and a lot of good people go into that assessment in my office. So TCA, if I can get it to turn. So the TCA is right behind that assessment summary page. And if you'll read A1, in order to assure that each county assessor of property shall have a minimum staff to assist the county assessor in carrying out the duties and responsibilities required by law, the assessor is authorized to appoint at least one deputy assessor for each 4,500 parcels of property as determined by the Division of Property Assessments over and above the first 4,500 parcels of property within the assessor's taxing jurisdiction. So, and there's more parts of that there that you all can read, but I've got a little summary page that I did behind this. So if you take 93,825, you take the first 4,500 off of that, which accounts for me as the assessor, you've got 89,325, and divide that by 4,500, it comes up to 19.85. So rounding up, the assessor's office should have 20 employees, not counting the assessor according to the TCA 67-1-506. Right now, we have 17 full-time employees and 2 part-times that get counted as 1 employee, making the total count 18, and not counting the assessor. This leaves the assessor's office short 2 employees right now. Now, when I become assessor, I will come out of the employee pool. So we'll be down 3 people. So, what I'm requesting is, Mr. Limble didn't feel it was necessary to have a chief deputy during his tenure. I don't feel the same. I think for the office to operate effectively and efficiently, that a position for chief deputy should be funded. The register, the clerk, the trustee all have chief deputies. All the constitutional offices do. They're an important part of the office structure. And I didn't put numbers on here, but I will tell you that I feel like chief deputy salary should be $75,000. I also feel that the office needs another commercial residential appraiser to help our sole commercial appraiser with the growth Sumner County is experiencing. I'm asking for $55,000 for that. And a GIS technician would also be beneficial to the office for the volume of subdivisions and deeds that are being recorded. And I'm asking $50,000 for that salary line item. And I think the last page is, I know I've gone over my 5, I appreciate your letting me. That's the countywide current year's estimated revenue performance. And right at the top is the current property taxes. You can see those numbers are pretty big, and our assessments are very vital in that number for the county commission to be able to levy their tax rate against. So, thank you. I appreciate you letting me talk with you tonight, and thank you for your time and your consideration.
John?
Yes, sir.
One of the vehicles is a 4-wheel drive. How important is the 4-wheel and the 2-wheel drive?
4-wheel drive is pretty important to be out in the county and all. I mean, there are driveways that are not doable without 4-wheel drive. A lot of gravel still, and driveways and all. People don't do concrete or paving and that kind of thing.
Now, these don't have to be big vehicles though, right?
Well, I've thought about that, but the majority of the vehicles out in the parking lot are all full-size trucks, yes. I don't know how much money you really save going to like a smaller truck.
Yeah, if you get a Colorado instead of a full-size pickup, it's fairly substantial.
Okay.
I'm just asking because I don't know.
Right. Well, with the $80,000 ask, that was budgeting for full size.
Full-size, okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All righty, clerk and master.
First, thank you all for doing this. I don't know why you want to do this, but thank you all for doing this. Let me pass out some things I'll get to here in just a moment. Thank you. I'm asking, well, I appreciate the praise you did give, but I'm asking for some adjustments in 3 of my employees. One is my chief deputy clerk, and I know you always talk about salary surveys, and we're able to take one here because fortunately, Ms. Strong has done a good job with her folks, and I'd like to get my chief deputy up to the same rate that she is giving her chief deputy. What you awarded her chief deputy was $89,834. Mine is at $81,243. She's been an employee of the county for 31 years. And we had a get-together of some of the former employees and the former clerk and masters the other day, and they awarded her a new nameplate, Miss Fix Everything, because she does. She fixes everything in our office. She's got her little toolkit, and she fixes everything, computers and everything else. So we're just asking the same thing for her as is received the other chief deputy for the clerk's office. She also acts as kind of a supervisor for our civil cases. So where Ms. Strong has 2 supervisors and a chief deputy, I have 1 clerk and master who acts as a chief deputy or as a supervisor, and the other one I'm messed up on because I should have made Ms. Kim Davis a supervisor because she handles all the probate matters. Probate matters I just handed you. We right now have over 1,000 probate cases on estates going on right now, 478 conservatorships, 2,234, feel like Joe Biden, 234 guardianships. Now, but I'm voting for the other guy anyway. But,
Mark, you didn't trip.
You're all right, yeah, I'm not going out. Now, the reason that's important is we have to do an accounting on just about all of those estates, every conservatorship. It's amazing how many conservatorships we go on both ends of the spectrum. We have so many more people who have autism than when I was growing up, and so many more people that are old like me that need a conservator, that we're having both ends of the spectrum. And that requires, we have to have a property management plan that has to be reviewed. We have to have an annual status report and an annual accounting. I did one yesterday for a young man whose grandparents, he's autistic, he just turned 18. We had to do a property management plan, and he's different than most because his granddad left him $1.2 million. We've got to supervise that probably the next 50 years as he is being cared for under this conservatorship. That's what she does, and it's very time consuming, and she's training the others there. That's why she needs to be a supervisor. The supervisor rate that Ms. Strong is paying is a little over $72,000, and that's what we're requesting there. The other person is working closely with Mr. Sidler is our young lady who does our delinquent taxes. And gets an earful just about every day from people who say, no, I don't know that. Yes, you do. And we're collecting those, and Mr. Sidler will tell you, we sent out a bunch of letters, and what did we get, $200,000 in? That, $200,000 in for that. We're getting ready to have a tax sale. She is so conscientious. She's the only employee I've ever had who said, can I take Thursday off so I can come in and work Saturday where the phone's not ringing off the hook and I can get these taxes in good shape. So I'm asking for hers to go up to $55,000 from where she was before. So that's the other. Everyone else, I'm pleased with what you have offered them and appreciate that. We're doing our best to keep things going on the Chancery Court because we have them when they're sad, when they pass away, when they're mad, when they get a divorce, and everywhere in between. So appreciate what you have done for us, and we appreciate you looking at that and kind of evening out with the other clerk's office.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
EMA.
Mark, you're more well-spoken than I would. You do, Mark? You take one. All right, thank you, Commissioner. So I know there was some talk a while back about trying to get away from grant funding paying for salaries. So I've got two pieces of grant funding that go towards my deputy director and my administrative assistant, and that's $68.77 and $32.19 with benefits. It totals $14,163. I'd like you to consider getting that off of the grant piece in case that grant goes away. Leave my part-timers on the grant, which is $18,000. 18 throws that so $1,000. I wish you would consider that. I've got two line items requests, so consider that we had the December 9th tornado. Our budget went in during the first week of the Sebastian Rogers search. Call volume this year has been so that our gasoline, we had to move funding for gasoline, we had to move funding for diesel. So I'm asking for those lines to increase by $2,000 with the gasoline line and the diesel line. And for some reason, $1,007 was cut from maintenance and repair of equipment. I would request that that go back in to maintenance and repair of equipment. Under capital, on the first meeting, a truck that's the last truck in the fleet that we need to replace, that's an older truck, was cut. It was cut last year as well. And that truck during the May 8th, 9th flooding laid down on us. It went into limp mode. We got it back to the ELC. We had to hook a lot smaller truck under it to pull a great big trailer, which poses a safety concern. This truck is subject to go out of state, across the state on EMAC deployments. And I'm concerned about the safety of that truck. And with the replacement of that truck, we won't have to request any vehicle purchase for several years. Then the next thing is the drones, and our drone program has grown immensely, and that has passed GenOps twice. And I'm requesting $44,000 for replacement or upgrade on drones, and that's everything I've got. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Any questions? All right, thank you. Okay, EMS.
The only thing that we had sent back after the initial hearings of the cuts was for the 8 members of our leadership. Those top 8 spots are the backbone of our department in a lot of ways. One thing that we haven't talked about here is our revenue this year. Mr. Long, I don't know if you've looked at it, but we're showing to be about $400,000 over this year. That's something that I don't think has ever happened since I've been here. And that's just a testament to the leadership of these people. So the positions that have been cut is safety, compliance, training, and let's see, our 3 shift supervisors who also work as our death investigators. So, and then the assistant chief is the primary death investigator for the county as well. So ask that those be placed back into the budget.
Any questions for Mr. Foss? All right, thank you. ECC.
Hello. We just have a couple requests. The first one being to bring the director position back to the $125,000. A salary comparison was conducted when this position was posted back in November 2023, so that the executive committee for the ECC could gauge an appropriate and competitive salary range. The $125,000 was decided upon and approved by the executive committee, just to be at a more competitive market rate. This was also the salary that was listed on the job posting. The second thing that we're requesting is for the QA supervisor position to be added back to the budget. This is the supervisor for our quality assurance, quality improvement program, which is a necessity for the ECC. Currently, we have our supervisors our supervisors conducting this task. And we purchased a QA software through APCO, which is the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials. They're the ones who provide training to help our folks meet national standards. And we use that program for our quality assurance. The QA duties, when we first started this program, were initially assigned to our training and QA supervisor. However, over the course of the last year, it's been overburdened her position, because she's also responsible for the training of our new and existing employees and our other training-related tasks. So then we shifted those responsibilities of the QA over to our shift supervisors. Well, they are responsible also for overseeing and leading their shifts, and also their other responsibilities for them. So it also pulls them away from the console, so that they can listen to audio recordings to review for the QA process. So that's not been really a practical solution. Our county is experiencing a continuous increase in calls for service. In 2023, we had 215,000 calls for service, which was an 8,000 increase from the previous year, and then 10,000 increase from the previous year before that. So with our increasing call volume, that results in additional work that we're putting on our supervisors, and also creates more calls for us to have to review. They're also required to provide feedback to our employees in a timely manner. So with them having to do their supervisory duties plus the quality assurance reviews, it's impacting them, and it's not practical. So ultimately, our goal, of course, is to utilize this training tool to provide continuous improvement for our employees at the ECC, which in turn will allow us to provide greater service to the citizens and to our public safety responders. Finally, I'd also like for you to consider that 68% of our budget is budgeted back toward the cities. So, any questions?
Questions?
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean, it's budgeted back to the
It's
cities?
a joint venture. We pay part of it, the cities pay 68%.
We pay the third.
Oh, okay,
32.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Circuit Court.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you all. I, like everybody else, want to ask for the original amounts that I asked for with regards to the salary items in my budget to be put back in as requested. As Mr. Hurt pointed out, the other constitutional offices are getting an across the board of 11%, but some of our offices were cut. The way that was done with my office, the result is that the people who make the smallest amount of money are getting the smallest raise at about 7%, and the people who make the most amount of money are getting the full 11%. That's grossly unfair in my office, and I can't let that happen for morale purposes. So, you know, offices are different. I don't care to compare salary to salary with my office and the trustee's office and whatever, but I would ask that I get the full 11%. That my clerks, my deputy, my employees get 11% like the other employees within the county are getting that are in similarly situated offices as them. I've also asked for a new employee that you all did give me, but you reduced the amount that I asked for with that salary line item. That employee is a court clerk. That position requires a full working knowledge of the court system. They have to know all the ins and outs of how the filings are done within the office and be able to execute that in a fast-paced court system. You all's reasoning for reducing it was that a new employee shouldn't make as much as, you know, somebody that's been there for 20 years. However, I will not be hiring a new employee into the court clerk position. It would require a promotion from somebody that's already in my office, and the new employee would come in. That scenario was not contemplated by you all in that. So I would ask for the full amount be restored so that I can put somebody in my office into that more qualified position and would hire in a new person at the lower salary from where I've promoted someone. The other thing I did add, I just recently got numbers on our phones system, and the new phones that have been implemented are significantly more expensive than the phones that we had, and I didn't have any numbers on that until like a week ago. So I did just change my communication line item. That's the only the operating expense that did change.
What was the difference?
On there, I think it went from, I think it was an increase of like $4,000. I think it's like $6,000
You hand her hand out.
a year. And we can deal with that down the road if we need to, but I thought, I know I put that in super late, but I just got those numbers and thought, while we're dealing with it.
Is it in your email?
I mean, it is.
Got it.
And then, I also added a few things to my, to a data line, and that's from my data funds, doesn't affect the budget. And again, I can deal with that later and come back to y'all later if I need to, but I thought, while we're doing this, let me go ahead and plug in the few extra things that I found, since I originally submitted the budget. So, essentially, I would ask for what I originally asked for, the 11%, across the board for my employees. Personally, what I would really like y'all to do is just to give it 11% overall on my line item and let me do with that what I need to do with my employees in my office. Because especially what I don't want to see happen is the people who make the most getting the biggest bump, and the people who are struggling the most financially in my office getting the very least amount in a raise. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
The new position, the court clerk, is that what you were saying it was?
Yes.
I'm looking at your organizational chart here, and the only circuit court clerk I see is you.
No, it's just it's a deputy clerk.
A deputy
It's a deputy clerk, but the position that I have to have, the only reason I need a new deputy clerk in my office is because by statute, I'm required to provide a clerk in every courtroom. And with the addition of a judge, I have to have a clerk in the courtroom.
Okay, and this organizational chart shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 court clerks, and you need a 12, is what you're saying.
I don't think I have them designated as court clerks.
Deputy clerk.
They're just deputy clerks.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't have it on there as who are my courtroom clerks and who are my non-courtroom clerks.
But you're saying the new position is a deputy clerk, right?
As a deputy clerk, their job will be in the courtroom.
Okay, so is that a different position than these 11 here?
No, it's the same position. It's just my courtroom clerks are on the higher end of the pay scale, generally because they're more experienced and have been there longer.
Okay.
So the new position I asked at the higher end of the higher pay scale, but y'all cut it.
So it's not on this organizational chart, is what you're telling me, right?
It is.
Where?
It's a deputy clerk.
It's a deputy clerk, but it's a court clerk.
Right.
Okay.
So the only other thing I would say too is like on our salaries where it says deputy clerk 1, deputy clerk 2, that means absolutely nothing. Like, you all like cut my deputy clerk 1s by X amount of dollars and deputy clerk 2s by X amount of dollars. Well, I mean, if you look on there, there's deputy clerk 2s that have been there for less time than deputy clerk 1. Because I might have a deputy clerk 2 leave And when I hire in a new employee, they're put in as deputy clerk two. And, I mean, we don't know, like, I have a deputy clerk on there that's listed as 1 or 2, and they're actually a supervisor. But I was told I can't change their title, even though I had the money in my budget to give her the bump in pay. So those titles in that mean nothing to us, because, I mean, that's not communicated between our office and the finance office.
Okay, well, it doesn't help us either.
I mean, nobody, I know, I mean, nobody ever asked me, when I have a new employee, it's never stated whether they're deputy clerk 1 or deputy clerk 2, and then when I get the budget, they're just plugged in as something.
Should be on the new hire sheet, but the person that's been doing it hasn't gone, so she contacted the new one.
Anyways.
We're at five,
Yeah,
anything else?
go ahead.
Thank you,
So,
ma'am.
thank you.
Okay, sorry, who's my
The mayor's next.
County Mayor.
All right, first item, a couple of these Dave, Lauren will probably weigh in on, but on the Rolling Acres improvement project, we need to get that road over to complete the project. So we're just asking that you roll over the remaining funds into the new budget. The Archives Route project, we're asking that you carry over the 44,000 from the last budget and appropriate the remainder, up to 200,000. And we haven't bid it yet. We're still waiting on all of that information. So, you know, we don't know where it's going to land just yet. But we'd like to have that appropriation made, so we don't have to come back to you. But we will come back with a project, obviously. Greenway repairs, $44,650. We've got some significant flood damage that we need to fix the bridge and the culvert repair work, that bridge abutment, and replace some trash cans and so forth on the Greenway. So we're asking to roll those funds over so we can complete that repair work. And the security cameras for parking garage, I'd like for you to allocate $100,000. We've already had 2 reports of vandalism. We need to get those cameras up. And then,
How much was that, 100,000?
100,000, yes, sir. And, the cameras that we will use will link in with the courthouse, so the security team at the courthouse can also monitor the parking garage. And then I added on the 5th one, the courthouse itself. I'd like for you to consider starting the bid process, getting it scoped out to bid out that the additional courtroom for the new judge. The judge has been appointed, so we do know that they're coming, and we need to at least start the process. And as said, for right now, you allocate up to $2 million. You know, we'll see where the bid process goes and see if we get it done cheaper. Obviously, we'd love to do that, but I think it's safe. That way we don't have to come back to you for additional money. I did have the tourism on there. Thank you for addressing that issue. So I won't talk about any further, and that is the end of my request.
And I mentioned item 1, it says Rolling Acres pedestrian improvement, but that's actually to do with ADA compliance. And we're trying to get toward ADA compliance. It's not just doing some kind of park or anything. I think that's what some.
Oh, it's the ADA?
It's the ADA one that Josh talked
Yes,
about.
pedestrian improvement.
Right, and it's 257,350 and 21,325 that needs to be carried over in the capital projects to do the project.
Okay. And Judge Gay, I know you called me to speak briefly if you wanted to on the.
I just want to echo briefly what the mayor said. Been 2 changes since I've been here in May. One is we're in the building now, and 2, we've got the new judge. Jennifer Nichols is starting on September 1st, and I've already met with her, and she is planning to help me alleviate backlog in jury trials. I've got 70 jury trials roughly from here to the end of the year, and when she comes, we're going to have about 40. And we're going to try to try 2 cases a week. I had talked to one of the commissioners who had voted against this the last time, and what the mayor said is what we suggest, that you all do what you do, go through the bid process, pick what you want to pick and please fill out or build out this courtroom because we need it drastically. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Sheriff's Department. Oh, no, go ahead, sorry. Mr. Brown.
This Greenway repair, where is it?
It's at Station Camp Greenway.
Station Camp.
Yeah, down near the Douglas Clark House.
Ms. Miller?
Just really quick, we asked for the 690 for tourism. I was just curious where we got that number because it was more than
Oh.
we voted on.
Well, that was based on the FY '22 numbers. So,
Yeah, I mean, we voted it.
But, yeah,
I'm
y'all
just curious where
already-
he got the
y'all-
690 number versus the
Did the
7.
23 number, but.
Oh, yes.
You did the 24, but 23 was actually higher, but there's that one-time money. That's
Well,
the
like, they
question
didn't
we
pull it
had.
away last time, so.
I don't know if they know.
What was the one-time
That's what I
money?
don't know. Well, there was one time, I think it was 27,500, I believe,
Yeah.
from the hospital fund that was given to them for, I believe it was a tournament of some type, maybe in a passing tournament, I can't remember exactly.
Does that increase this means of effort, basically?
We don't know.
We don't know, that's what I'm saying, they're a component unit, I think their board may be gonna ask us to look at it, we'll look at it with them and say, you may need to appropriate more to make that up, or alleviate, I don't know, but you at least need to bring it to 2,000.
We brought it, we did with the, I mean, we did the one, the other is a nominal amount comparatively.
So
But I would suggest we don't revisit that to go up until we, until we hear anything more. Let's let that all go. We already addressed
The
it.
sanctuary, we're not sure.
Mr. Klein?
Just quickly, and maybe this is a different time for conversation, but the archive roof, what are we waiting on? I know that there was an HVAC unit that was.
yeah,
But
and we've
that-
just gotten clearance. We worked through that with finance. So we're starting to work on the HVAC unit. But I really I want to get that done before I get the roof done.
Okay, well,
So-
it's, because it's the parapets, not the roof.
Right, well, there's some roof damage that we have to fix.
Yeah, and there
So-
probably will be after
And,
this
and
too.
there may be after you get that air unit changed out.
Do you want the short of it, David? It's
Yeah.
that same statute you've been dealing with that says when an architect or engineer is needed. It was to change out a geothermal unit, so the question was, did that change electrical or mechanical? Our local engineers talked to, or our engineers talked to other ones, and he said he don't feel one's needed, he does not feel it really changes electrical or mechanical, so we're gonna run forward without one.
Okay, good.
That's where we're stuck at. Really, you guys need to get with your group and see if you can lobby to straighten some of that verbiage up in that statute. It's really a pain.
I'd love to.
Any other questions for the mayor? Sheriff's Department. Sorry for the false start.
Maybe you can tell me.
You're
Thank
kind
you,
of
Mr. Chairman. I'd
Commissioners
like to
Association.
ask this committee to relook at 3 different items. First was the additional training deputy that we had asked for. We'd like for that to be put back to the original budget proposal. We have 300 people that's being trained by 30 people. I mean, they're overworked. And we've asked for it for a couple of years, it's always been cut. So the second thing being the additional person for the court security lieutenant. Because we have so many court officers now, we need another supervisor. And then the third thing is to the reestablishment of the adjustments made on the step raises.
Got it. And that was, so basically requesting, reestablishment of what you all had originally requested for
Yes.
the raises.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Sheriff Wood?
Any
Any
questions?
questions for the sheriff?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, IT.
Evening. Fortunately, our department didn't get any budget cuts for the capital project. Thankfully, that's not, front and foremost right now. We can revisit that next year, so I'm not going to ask to reinstate that. I did write in my email there, I did reference one of my employees. She's administrative assistant. We call her office manager. I did look at every administrative assistant in the county. There's only 2 that make less than 50,000. And I did ask for her to be brought up, and I'd like to see her at 50,000.
What's she making now, Robert?
She's 45, and she's gonna get a 5% COLA, that'd bring her up to 47,250. But I think she's worth every bit of 50. I mean, if you look at the one I referenced, same classification, same amount of time. Actually, Kim's worked here longer than that. She just come to us from another department.
Oh.
So I'm asking for that. And what we did with the help desk was pretty good. I still think we're a little behind across the board with most of my team, but I think the new salary survey will take care of that. However, if we can't get her up to those numbers, what I propose is that you guys take a look at my 5% COLA, which will be $6,536. And I'd like for y'all to bring that down into their line. And I would like for you to apply that to her salary, and then take the remaining part of my COLA and apply it to the rest of the employees.
That's very kind of you.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Robert.
Okay.
We got one more item, which is the Hendersonville Library. They sent in it's still within the time, it was a request for a change.
Okay, is Ms. Daniels? Go ahead.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. I had spoke on this a little bit earlier today, but I sent you guys an email with the adjustments. Okay, an email, okay, awesome. And as you can see on the budget that you guys have proposed, last year's budget was $938,686. And then this is on your budget, number 6. And then you guys knocked it down to $934,411. And we're just asking for it to come back up, and asking just for an additional $494. That would make it $939,180. And so literally we're only asking for $494 more for the Hendersonville Library, and that even already includes all the COLAs, the everything. We basically just moved money around so that we can get the part-time up to that $222,421, so that Alicia can get her 2 part-timers. And so, as you can see, we've basically moved all kinds of money around so we can get that there. So we're just asking for you to bring back the cut that you made on this one, and bring us back to last year's budget, and then just add 494. So, that's all I'm asking. So if you guys, and I brought, printouts if you guys need them.
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Daniels? Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I went out, met Ms. Daniels at the end of my visit with Alicia last Thursday at the library. So I just wanted to put this out in the open, just so you know, from my conversation with her, it was about extending library hours by 4 hours. One proposal was, to open it Friday. Long story short, she didn't think at this time they could do that, but she did suggest that they could open 2 hours, be open 2 hours more on Saturday, and maybe take some days that are open at 10 a.m. and open the libraries at 9 a.m. And she was confident that she could make those numbers work without any additional revenue from us. So I'm just putting that out there. I'd like to see this committee tonight maybe do something that requires them to open the extra 4 hours. The citizens have been asking this for over almost 10 years.
I don't think that would involve us at all.
That'd be the library.
Yeah, it's the library board. I mean,
It wouldn't even, that's not a budget.
So we can't put.
I mean, the only thing,
budget?
yeah, we can't just direct their hours specifically.
Right.
I mean, we did.
If they can do it, they just need to do it.
We did it, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I put that together, a proposal to give, a contingent on the others, I mean, that's failed a couple times, we can do that, but we can't, like, once we give it to
can't
them,
direct them.
start telling them, otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I
of
didn't
a
want it to
library
come
board?
across as that, but just wanted to put that out. in
I'd
the
like to
open.
point something out too, that Hendersonville Library is still the source of, debate between who's gonna own that in the end, so just
Ms. Daniels,
FYI.
any other notes?
Well, did you want me to comment on the 4 hours?
If you'd like to, and then we're close on time, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say that, the problem is that no one's actually come to the board and even asked us to do anything about this. And this is something that we actually had to find out at a budget meeting. And actually, the budget is supposed to be approved by us before it's even presented to you guys. And so it took us by surprise. And what you talked with Alicia about is fine, but this does come down to the library board really has to talk about that, because then it's MOE and all kinds of other things.
So that would basically, real quick, so the citizens, I understand there's a citizen that has a petition with, I believe she said 200 signatures or so, I won't hold to that number, but they could basically bring that petition to the board and say, hey, here's what I've got. Can they speak at these board meetings of their concerns and their desires to have that library open to them 4 more hours? Is that going to be permitted? I think it is, but I just want to make sure for the record that they're able to.
So we have public comment at all of our meetings, and we just had one on Wednesday, and yet no one has given any of this concern to the board, just so you know.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels.
So
Go
the,
ahead.
so the long and short of it is $4,769 is what you're looking for.
I'm looking for you to replenish the 4,200,
250.
yes, and so 4,275 plus 494.
Got it.
Whatever that adds up to, I think it's like
4769.
There you go. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Ms.
All right,
Daniels.
thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a little bit of guidance here. I appreciate everybody. So what we're gonna do next is handle the ARPA, because I think we can go through that relatively quickly. And then when we get to item number 4, D4, number 8, section 8, part D, item number 4, that's when we'll handle any proposed changes, given what folks have said they will do, kind of like a workshop. Edits to the FY 2025 budget draft 6, which is the one we're working off now. So with that note, we'll go ahead and I'm going to bring us back into our rules, and we will consider. I rarely do this, but I'm going to make, in the interest of brevity here, I'm going to propose the following: that for item number 3, that we approve item A, B, C, D, and F. Which I understand that we have that in ARPA, that we have the funds in ARPA, and I would propose that we approve those. We have a motion and a second.
Check with that sheriff.
Well, let's just handle A, B, C, and D if we want to, because we can get a note. So I'm gonna amend mine. We want to check what the numbers are on the smart books. Item A, B, C, and D.
That's under 2?
That's under
Click
3.
Oh, 3.
Under ARPA.
Okay,
We've talked about
I'm
these
sorry.
multiple times. Each of these, I know A, B, C,
Click on
and
ARPA,
D
Beth.
are ones we've talked about on several occasions, so I'm gonna move to approve those.
We're gonna say
Is
second.
that good with that? All right, motion and a second.
Let's make sure we clarify what the amounts are.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know we've got all of it on this, and I think we have some left over, and it's kind of between the smart books and the other proposals.
I want to hide those.
Did he get a vote on?
Sorry, I know I come up here.
Did he get a vote on the group and approve?
No.
What's that? He's
So we
on
can
he's on
have
handle
a
all
smart
under
book.
I want to see the amount available go on down. There's a pink map.
We're in
You got
discussion. Eric.
$2.8 million
We made a motion, a second,
right now. So what's the total? Let's go over here to the side and start.
You're
adding
still,
up those
okay.
totals and see how close.
I mean, we're on
We can
3,
adjust.
A, B, C, and D.
Once it's approved.
Right
Okay, let's find out the amounts of each project. The first one is the Hendersonville one, and the total is, let's find it.
It's like
1.75?
1.75.
Is it 1.75?
So do 1.75 plus what was Millersville?
Let's go to the next one here.
521. 521.
Okay, then what's the last one?
Legion Post.
500,000.
That's what I'm saying, they went
That was
over.
for the Legion?
Yep, it's went way up.
Okay, and then, okay, well, let's look at the White House.
What was White House?
I think it was like,
We got the documents right here.
yeah, it was,
What page is White House? It starts on page 713.
I don't remember the American Legion.
It just now is, it was, that was the last request we received just the other day. Estimated investment, said 500,000 for that one. So where we at on the White House there? White House, I go.
That's right, that next one right there.
What now? This one? Does it have the amount
I
on
don't
it?
think it does.
They talk about 500,000 here and 900,000 TDEC.
No, it was a. Here's a letter, exemption authorization. That's the American Legion. And it's real low. See, we have this one page one here. Estimated cost is just over 800,000, is that on the road? Yeah, but it wasn't, they weren't asking for all of it.
I think it was asking for help, weren't they?
Yeah, but I.
Sum that up, Beth, and see how much it is right now.
That letter says, they're asking for 550.
What, the American Legion Post 17?
No, we're looking at White House.
White House.
White House.
I don't know, nobody ever came.
What's that total, Beth?
Talk about it.
That's right there, you got 2.7, is it? And then we have some we probably have left over from the salary supplements, we don't know exactly how much. And we think White House was another 5.
Oh, would be assisted with 225,000.
Okay.
225,000.
Can you put 225 in it?
225,000.
I've got no memory of this at all.
He talked about it and brought
I
the
remember,
information.
so it was the request is for
Right.
225,000.
The American Legion?
Oh, no, the American Legion was a lot smaller.
500,000.
All right, so how much is all of
Some,
that?
some of that may go down one more.
This here?
That's pretty close.
So go to the side. I think we have it, but I'll go to the side. We got 2 amounts. We got that amount, which is slightly less, but if you go up here, we think somewhere below that's available.
Okay.
So those two together should get you, so if you just make a motion to adjust that as needed to fit that.
That's-
adjust.
okay.
So sit here and do it tonight, we'll adjust it in the morning.
That's fine. I don't know what the.
That's your motion.
Yeah, so it would be to, make any adjustments necessary within our funding, I'm just gonna adjust the motion slightly in order to fund requests A, B, C, and D.
You may want to say the amount for the one, because it's the 225 for White House.
Yeah, within that is the $225,000 for White House, that's my motion.
500
I'm good with that. You're good with that one?
500 for Legion, okay.
Go ahead.
What does this look like if we split it evenly between those 4?
You can give them all the same amount. Well, we don't know the exact, so let's just take the 2 point, go over to the right bit.
What does that net out to?
So let's say we run on the 2.9 million and divide it by 4. Because we don't know the exact amount of that 5 is going to be available. We're just going to say it's going to be less than that.
I mean, that's a big difference.
$749,000 apiece.
What's it, how much?
Be $749,000.
I don't agree with that, because
Some of the projects are bigger than others.
yeah, and it just serves different people.
So I think my motion is to carry it as it is with that amendment. Your amendment?
I'm gonna amend it to split it evenly.
Second.
Motion and second, okay. Any discussion on that?
The question, the Legion was only asking for 500,000, so
Yeah, I know.
where's the other 249 going?
Yeah.
Well, it's a $1.1 million project.
Oh, is it on the American Legion?
Yeah, but the city of Gallatin's gonna put the other half in.
Okay.
So what we're saying is.
Is it 550 or is it
that
5?
Jeremy Mansfield wants to help out the city of Gallatin.
I know they're gonna pick up the larger half of it.
So, I mean, I just put that on record.
The motion was for the American Legion.
Any other discussion on the amendment?
So, you're saying, Bob, that they're asking for 500, it's a $1.1 million project. I don't know, I didn't hear anything about Gallatin, so.
That's what I remember, but I can't remember the division.
All in favor of the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
No.
Okay.
I was an aye.
Okay, that's, well, it's fails, 3 and 3. Okay, back on the main. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, 2 noes, motion carries. Okay, we have ARPA handled.
Okay.
That's for A, B, C, and D.
A, B, C, and D.
Is there any ARPA left over?
There's not really much left over.
Well, we need
D
to
and
close
F,
the year
we're done.
before.
E and F we're done.
We'll need to close the year before we know
We'll,
we're so
we'll
close.
handle those smart ones.
So E and F are done?
Okay.
Do you want to put,
We'll get, we don't know, that's what
What was
we're
E and F?
Yes.
We'll get
Okay.
something.
I'll tell you.
do you want to put E and F under old business after we close? the
Yeah,
books?
let's-
See what the amount's left out of that
Yeah.
non-spent.
So, yeah, we'll put those to old
That
business.
Instead of capital, so.
Yeah, I mean, well,
We got ARPA money.
we'll put it to old business and we can handle it. We can handle those two. I mean, well, how much do we have left? And
We don't know exactly. because-
We don't know how much, so let's just, we're gonna have a little bit left, let's find out and we can bump them to old business, the majority of it's taken care of.
Okay.
So that way we get a chance to figure out how much we have, then we get a little bit more detail on what those are and we can, you know.
Probably want to make the approval contingent upon it being a approved ARPA project. 'Cause we'll run it-
Yeah, well.
That it's the type of, because it's
Sure.
supposed to be under
You talking
proper, yeah.
In your email.
Make sure it falls under
That's fine.
proper and all
I
that
mean,
good
that's, I
stuff.
think that's implied.
Yeah, is the proper,
I
we
mean, that's,
think.
yeah, that's implied. Okay, so let's move on to budget draft. That was big stuff right there. Got that lot of stuff tied off. Budget draft number 6. Okay, so I'm gonna treat this a bit like a workshop. I've got a couple thoughts here on maybe some small adjustments around the edges. But I'll well, let's do this. Entertain a motion to discuss. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna entertain a motion to suspend the rules in order to discuss for workshop purposes.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Klein, then Mr. Brown.
I was gonna
Mr. Brown,
make the
go ahead.
motion for you.
Been looking at the budget and everything, and all the new employees. I feel like we need to send that back to each one of the committees for looking at it. Dave, if you want to post that up.
Can I say one thing that's gonna maybe throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there? If you take these ones that aren't here for a hearing tonight and you send them back to the committee, we're gonna have to wait for a committee. After it comes back here, they're gonna get a chance for another proposal, and you gotta give them 10 days after your change. And we gotta have 10 business days after notification. Then we have to have 10 days before publication for a budget. You have to approve August 31st. So I don't think it's logistically possible right now to do that. If we do that, I don't think you're gonna pass the budget by August 31st.
Okay. So our point here is that we should consider only these items that were under 2A through L.
But you understand what I'm saying, Mr.
Well,
Brown?
Yeah, we're talking about $3 million here. And we just have no input from committees. Highway, one of them's library board, HMS, HEMS. And like I say, the rest of them should be in the budget. Then, had a lot of questions here generally about other things that, again, certain committees should be looking at and giving us a better answer. I can pass it out, just let y'all look at it.
But I'm not trying to throw any wrenches, but my thing is, if you send them back to the committee's going to have to look at it. It's gonna have to make the budget, we're gonna have to notify the department. After we notify them, they're gonna have 10 days to come in here and make that. After we get it together, we're gonna have to propose at least 10 business days before you approve it in the paper.
Yeah, so we'll go through another whole thrash.
So you're saying that the committees would all have to do a special called meeting in July, probably?
Just to
For all
meet the
the
notice requirements, yeah.
Probably late July, and then you're looking at the notice of budget and then notice of departments.
Here's the thing, I'm gonna, Ms. Brown, I get it, we could go into more detail, I'm gonna be very hardcore against it. And the reason why is that at this juncture, here's what we have. We have, maybe some movement around the edges, but we have a budget that is, it's balanced in terms of long-term planning. It's not putting us on a trajectory for a tax increase. And what, given that, if we took none of the changes that were asked for right now and just passed it as is, that would be better for the departments than going back through this again, because, you've got, there's a point at which there's gonna be some fatigue about, okay, we think we're almost there, and the departments kind of know where things are set, and now we're gonna put us all through one more thrash. I get we could go deeper on it, but that's gonna be why I'm gonna be against that if we wanna try to push this.
Well,
Mr. Klein?
with all the changes that were just requested, would we still be balanced?
Correct.
Well, we can handle that. I'm not saying we necessarily need to do that. I'm just saying that if we struck them all, it would be better than going through a full turn.
Yeah, could I ask one other question? We at some point decided on a 5% COLA. The COLA for last year and this year, according to Social Security Department of the federal government, was at 3.4. Why did we go to 5? When we're expecting people on fixed incomes, the citizens who are on fixed incomes here in Sumner County, to be giving a COLA to the employees of the county that's more than their COLA from Social Security.
We went line by line. Here's the thing, we went line by line through all of these.
I know, but we standardized a 5% COLA.
But even once we standardized it, we were still under market in almost every position.
You were lower than that 8.9 per year.
And a lot of that was because last year, we're kind of offset a year, in a way. Last year, we were at between 2 and 3%, and the rest of the world was at, around 8, 9. And then other government departments were at, 4 and 5. So we're just offset.
I think they were like 8%.
That was the year before. That was before we were even elected.
Right, but that year the employees didn't get a very large raise.
No, we're talking last year.
Last year it was 3.4. I've got it somewhere.
Yeah,
here.
that was us, and that was.
No, I'm saying Social Security.
Okay.
They published a 3.4.
2%.
We did 2 to 3. We were probably 1% under.
I'm not trying to search for it. I can't.
At the end of the day, what
Here we go.
The flat COLA is less important than what we're looking at versus market.
23, they were 3.2, and 22, they were 8.7, and 21, they were 5.9. So the employees were actually lagging for a couple of years there.
Well, and I don't know what we did because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
1.3, 6.
We're catching them. I'm not trying to throw previous commissions under a bus here, but for all, and I might have been really direct with a couple people on the phone, and I apologize when folks were calling me. But I'm gonna say this, for all the hate that this commission gets, and it gets a lot for being mean and nasty, we're giving the best freaking raises that have happened in this county in years. So I really hope.
It's still not enough.
I really hope that people remember this every time we talk about how nasty certain people are, or that we're trolls, or that we sit on murderer's row. I really, really hope that people remember this, because the percentage, what you just said is what we're correcting for.
Yeah.
We're correcting for it. So I don't want to change it, and I won't say anything more about it. You won't hear me say another thing. I don't want to talk about the previous commission. I'm saying this in a bit of defense of this commission, who take a lot of stones, because we've cut a lot of stuff we cut, we cut stuff like the Comer Barn. We came in and we said we were gonna cut extraneous stuff in order to help employees, and that's what we're trying to do. And is it perfect? No, it's not. I mean, we've made some, there are very good arguments here that, maybe we made some adjustments that were not exactly on point everywhere, but man, the spirit of this has been to take care of the freaking employees.
Yeah, it has.
So I'm not gonna say anything more about it. I've gotten animated enough, and I know I've gotten animated on the phone call with a couple people, so I'll be quiet. But, anyway, so is there, I'll get off my soapbox. Are there any adjustments here? I've got a couple of them I would like to consider, so long as it doesn't like materially change.
The way we're looking at two things, if somebody requested the change, like, then there wouldn't be an issue of a hearing. Or if they're one of them here tonight that has asked for their second hearing and you make any changes. But the ones that did not ask for their second hearing and you change something tonight.
No.
They're gonna have a chance for their second.
No, right, and I'm not suggesting we
presentation.
change anything other than some of these that were requested.
Since if you do broad changes on cost of living or
I
something, it's
agree,
gonna have some effects.
which is why I don't wanna make any of those
Okay,
changes.
okay.
So I'll go ahead and go down here, these are some of mine, I think we should carry them, vote them up, vote them down. The election commission, we just took a vote on that to add, I think we took a vote on that, didn't we, to add the 35,000?
We did, and you'll vote on everything at the end anyway.
So we did that one. I just think I'd like to move them with votes as we go. That way, we're all on point. Planning and engineering, I'll make the motion and it can vote up and down. I'm just gonna go quick. Planning and engineering, I make a motion to just reset that for 1 year back to where Ms. Norfleet would remain. I'm not sure that I'm good with this, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion, just because we're doing a lot this year, that Ms. Norfleet would go back to Mr. Suttis' office for a period of 1 year. That's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye, two. Okay, motion fails. Okay, assessor of property, after listening there, I don't want to make huge changes, but I do understand, what I would like to consider here is to grant the assessor of property, and tell me if I can do this, $15,000. And give him the discretion to move it back, or we need to put it somewhere.
My concern is that if we're not meeting his statutory numbers, and he brought that up, that the budget's.
But he didn't, my problem with that is that he didn't request it.
Here's kind of what I'm looking at.
I mean, I'm not against it, I'm just like, if he didn't request it, then does that open up?
And if Eric may have a different opinion, but here's what the actual statute says verbatim, makes me think that once you didn't take his original presentation, it says, I think they're allowed to make a completely different presentation for one reason, exactly. Where's the source from? Okay, institutional. If approved, the budget committee shall immediately forward. If rejected, the department, commission, institution, board, officer, agency shall submit a revised proposal. So a revised proposal don't necessarily, the way I'm looking at it, have to contain, so if you reject my proposal, I could come in and give you any proposal the way I'm reading it. Are you reading it any differently, circle that section?
Find my copy of that.
Or here's what I'm looking, I'll circle and let Eric look at it. I think they can give you any proposal if you reject their initial.
So, okay, so he, basically, we don't have.
I think if he's speaking for Mr. Linville, which is the assessor now, and you rejected his initial proposal, I think he has a right to bring any proposal forward at this point. But that's why I'm reading, and Eric's the attorney, so I don't want to speak for him.
So you're having two different people with two different proposals. And your actual assessor of property for now, until this election is over, is still Mr. Linville.
But, yeah, Mr. Linville sent me an email today requesting to delegated it to him. Because I asked that question to him and Mr. Linville, that's what they did today, so they delegated it. Because the question is not the official. You're correct. That's why I asked that question. That's the way I'm reading, but I could be wrong.
So we're statutorily required, so right now, we're down 2 people by statute. That was,
Yeah, he does have the 10 days to
How much- how much-
resubmit, but I haven't seen the statute he was referencing.
Oh, I've got it right
how much
here.
of an increase is that?
If you, it says he gets 2 more employees, it doesn't say how much he's asked for a chief deputy, but the question being is he's too short. You could give him 2 at the lower end, a chief deputy like they're asking, or the other one's asking for.
So we said that one should be 75,000, I think.
Yeah, 150 and
So that's,
155.
how much?
150 and 155, I believe.
No, 175.
I know, there was
It
3.
was 75 for the chief deputy, it was 55 for a commercial residential, and 50 for a GIS tech.
But that would be one over.
No, no,
But
no.
it's, I'm just, he's
No,
not
but that's
counting.
filling his position.
Yeah, but his position will be vacated, it'll be empty for him or somebody else. Or you go to assessor, your position will be vacated by you, so you'll have that 3rd position.
So-
Right.
I think
He's wanting two new ones.
2 new is 2 net new, that's the way I kind of read that. Yes, we'll person moving up to that position, that slot that's unfilled is still budgeted for.
Right, so
So it's a net
yeah,
of 2.
so he'll put somebody in his, but it's a net 2 right now.
So.
Yeah, and
Until I take
based,
assessment.
Right,
based
but
on
then
this.
that line item is
he
still
gets it.
there.
He gets 2 employees.
Just the
Everybody's
person
got
will
issues.
fill it.
It is, but I'm not counted in the employee pool any longer once I become the assessor.
But his spot will be open.
But his
So you're only 2
spot will
now.
be open.
Somebody will go into your spot, you'll hire
Spaces,
somebody.
not faces. You're just gonna have like an empty spot.
Whatever your salary is, it'll be available for whoever you hire. You'll go into Mr. Assessor's
But
salary.
you're a mapper right now.
Yeah, GIS administrator actually.
But if it's the
So
same.
I think to be on the safe side, we should add 2.
And that's really up to your discretion, what to.
It's 9,000 is the threshold for number 2, so I forgot how many lots they said we were.
He took the first one, minus out 4,500, divided by the total, it's 93. And if you even round it up for the.
It's 93 after the reduction of 45?
Before.
Before, so
It's
it's
on
like I
Mr.
said, it's
Legal's
one
tax.
more.
One more employee, so.
That's
Right.
how I'm reading it.
What you do is you take, the way I'm reading, you take the initial minus 4,500, and then you divide that by 4,500, and that's the amount of numbers you get besides the assessor. The assessor's for the first
Because the
4,500.
assessor comes out for that first 45.
Correct.
And if you count it that way and you make the 2 part-time, 1 full, and then you round up, it's 2 short.
I think that's the way I'm reading.
Well,
this.
we were talking about, he needed 19 people to handle all the lots, right?
That was, yes.
All the part.
He's requesting.
I'm looking at the assessor of property organizational chart, and there aren't even 19 people in the whole department.
We can look at it.
We have 17 full-time, 2 part-time.
Yeah, that's.
The 2 part-time count is 1.
So it's not just the fieldmen that you're
Can you
saying,
count it?
to run the whole department, you need 19 people. Plus you're moving out.
Well, according to the Tennessee code, and doing the numbers, I mean, it comes out to 19.85 people. I rounded up to 20.
Okay.
And
So it's total
that
people.
20 does not include the assessor.
Right, and he
Right.
took out 1 for the 2 part-times, which brought you down to the number he's got.
Okay.
So I mean, I think,
show
to me, the net is, we need to add 2.
Show 18, count the assessor besides.
It's
But 2
19.85
besides
counties.
the- we show
So you should have 20
part-time.
employees plus.
But,
plus
oh, there's
yourself.
3, but that still counts as 1 then, see.
3 part-time.
How much money are they on there?
Right there.
Oh, so they're almost as much as a,
Full-time.
so you ought to turn those part-times into full-time.
Well, that takes care of it. Let's do that.
Just to keep
Just
it
turn
the
those 2 into full-time. And then that shouldn't be as big of a bump, just.
Yeah, because your market.
Yeah, so
Looking at this.
pull those 2, let's make those 2 into full-time. Where are they at?
Bring them up to 42,838 is what the, this is
42,838.
Perkins.
All right, so, I mean, where's that for the rest of them? So.
Those 2 aren't full-time employees though.
Now, these are part-time clerks.
Right, but what I'm saying is we would,
You'll
we
give 2
would make
full-time,
these
cut those
guys,
down.
we're gonna,
One full-time.
we're gonna make them, well, no, we're gonna, this is gonna become a full-time, this is gonna become a full-time.
You lose
So-
the part-time.
You're gonna lose that part-time, but you're gonna get new full-time. And then, so these would need to become wrapped.
Yeah,
So
with
we
all
would
the
need to bump
benefits.
those up and they'd have to be wrapped with benefits.
Well,
And then on top of it, we would add 1 more.
Easiest thing to do is to increase the salaries to what the full-time, add benefits, and we'll move them around.
Oh, he only needs two, that's right, so,
Right, on each two more.
so, yeah, I mean, just change those to full-time, and then,
But what, the easiest way to do them say is make them full-time with all the benefits.
Yep.
Add the, amounts up, and then tomorrow let us get with Mr. Lamble and him, because Lamble's delegated it to the new assessor. And then we'll move those two up into the lot lines for.
and just see what the difference is gonna be.
Right, we'll just get the dollar differences right now is what we need, and then we can work with them tomorrow, moving it around, because we need those for publication.
Yeah.
And give us the authority to move them around with him. But how much do you want to put in for the new positions?
Well, let's make them in line with the others.
Yeah. Well, one of you asked for was the chief deputy.
Well, I mean, that's fine, we can, if we, I mean, he's got a large.
You can ask for it, but I mean, give it.
Well, I thought it was.
Well, I mean, look, I would.
Here's a base is 42, 18. That's a median of 7, 10 years for a clerk, for an assessor's office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we make them, I mean, you could come back with the question is gonna be whether we wanna make one of those a chief deputy. I'll make a motion, we can vote this one up and down. Is there any, let's do them one at a time here. I'll make a motion to change these both, to full-time and have the, full-time clerks and have the, finance director come back with, you just make the adjustments in order to get them to be fully wrapped. That's my motion, I'm gonna make another one.
So that puts them all in compliance.
That puts them in compliance with the law, that's motion number one. Do I have a second on that?
Still missing one employee though.
I'm gonna fix that one, we're gonna go with that one.
What are you gonna do with the part-time employees?
Part-time employees, they just, they can come on full-time.
But he had a.
They don't- they don't want- they don't want to be full-time.
They're not full-time employees.
Well, you'd have to let him get somebody else.
Really?
I mean, what,
It was 8.
the request is for,
You're firing 2 part-time employees with this action.
well, I mean, I don't wanna fire anybody, but there's,
You're cutting them out of
It
the
is
job.
eliminating two part-time positions, actually.
I mean, we got quoted state statute, and I'm trying to bring us to state statute. I mean,
That's not the route.
What is the route?
well, I mean, I'm open.
I need to know how much, like, when we were going through this process and bringing everybody to market, we did in the assessor's office, like everybody else is. Obviously, I'm gonna reject any increases, but, I'm just curious, like, we were barely squeezing by on trimming all the fat to even balance this budget.
Let's see what we look like right now.
Yeah.
Let's see, I think we're around $70,000.
You're probably okay right now because we cut some
Well, if you're
insurance.
70,000 over, then you're not okay.
No, 70,000 under, 70,000.
You are 83,000 worse off than you were last year.
Do what, so we're.
So we're running about $4 million difference between revenue and
So
expenditure.
we still need to cut.
You're about 83 worse off than, but like this year we're in and the year before we actually picked up some reserves, so you're probably still,
I mean, so we still.
holding everything else equal, you're probably okay.
And that's not, so we're already at a deficit and not a.
Well, we're not at a deficit. We are worse off than we were last year, but we're not at a deficit. Like, a deficit would be, we're actually expending
all of it.
Like outrunning our revenues. We're not outrunning our revenues.
But we've not balanced the budget.
If you make revenues equal expenditures, you're probably gonna pick up $7 million.
Yeah.
Because of unspent line items.
Unspent,
and
we're gonna, I mean,
things we don't know
we're gonna
about.
pick up.
And recurring revenues.
Yeah. Yes,
They were supposed to say you could 6 million maybe.
absolutely.
So the question is right now, if everything else is held equal, you're probably still within the range of where we usually keep those differences.
Well, right now, we're having a statutory, if we have truly a statutory problem, we have to add 3 employees.
Two, you know, two.
No,
It was too short.
no, he's leaving. He's losing employees. It's 3 employees right now.
That's already.
But he's still got,
That's the way I read it.
he's still got a position.
But he's got
It's
a
already
position
accounted for.
open, so he's moving up, like,
Yeah.
there's a position here that's at the top, that moves, that person's moving out.
So we need 2 employees.
After the assessor, he has a total of 19.85. If you give him a part-time, it's 85% of one, and 19.
I mean, we could do that. We
So
could
are
do
2 part-times, one full-time? Is that
Yes.
the way it would work out statutorily?
Yes.
But then two people are gonna lose their jobs.
No, we wouldn't get rid of them, but
You call it .85 the two part-time employees, 'cause they don't equal one.
Well, that, we could do that,
And then you give them two more.
we could do that. So the two,
So if you give them two employees and leave the part-times, then you.
and that's the
fulfill statute.
.85. That's the .85. Let's
Yeah.
do it that way. Does that make sense?
yeah, we don't wanna lose the part-timers.
I mean, I don't either. I'm just like, I'm
economy's-
trying
the
to
economy's-
balance this with the numbers.
So what's the
Negative
extra
83,000.
part-time money then here? There's 37,000 of extra part-time money already.
Yes.
So you could use that toward a new full-time, that's not about some.
So the proposal then, all right, so I'm gonna retract my previous one.
So let's turn back to part-time then.
So we're gonna turn back to, leave those at part-time and we just add
Two.
We still need to add two.
So what about the extra part-time money? You want to leave it or?
Yeah, we put that into the full-timers.
You want to turn that
Yeah,
into the
put that in a
full-time?
full-timer and then we just, they probably need to, and that probably needs to be about, 42,000 according to that.
That's gonna get you one right there.
Unless he wants to hire 4 more
And then
part-timers.
we need another one at 42,000.
So you had to zero that out, Beth, and then add some full-times up in the other line.
I think- I really think he needs a deputy, or a chief deputy.
I mean,
Yes, I would
It's,
I would request
It's
that.
a critical position in that office.
well, I mean,
Any constitutionally elected office has a chief deputy, and like I said earlier, it is a integral part of the office structure.
well, we've got, I'm just trying to balance the books here on this one. If we wanna if we wanna bring somebody up at that, well, if we wanna bring somebody up at that rate, I mean, something's gotta give somewhere. Any suggestions here?
Where do you want to add the new position?
So we had, I mean,
He was asking for one's the chief deputy, what was the other one?
What's their cost?
it's.
Chief deputy, 75,000.
75,000. Fully wrapped, that's gonna be about
Residential,
100.
55.
Fully wrapped, that'd be about
GIS tech,
100,000 bucks.
50.
Yeah, I know, we just need to have two lower positions to fulfill the state requirements.
All right, let's do the state requirement and.
I mean, I'm not against it, I'm just, we gotta fulfill the minimum.
Okay, his position's almost 70. Okay, here may be a solution. He's going to the assessors. The position he's in right now is making almost 75. We move his up to the chief deputy,
Let's
that's
change-
75, then you can bring two lower end, he can still be the
Yes,
chief deputy.
that's what we do. So we move that position to be 75.
Because you're gonna go to the assessor's job.
I am, but I've still gotta have a GIS administrator. I've gotta have somebody come in and take my place. It's not just mapping. I mean,
So how much did you want for the GIS administrator?
GIS administrator, I mean, me right now, I'm making right at $70,000.
I thought you said 55 make
If we got to 11%, I'd be at 75.
For 55 for next year's budget, is what he's saying.
Except 75 for next
What about
year.
his,
He's requesting it.
his position in next year's budget?
Well, look, here's what we know we need to do. We know, have we added the two lower level positions?
No.
We need to do that.
Correct.
There's no, I mean.
You want to add them as fieldman?
Just add those as fieldmen to start with.
Okay.
We know.
Add them
we
in the
need to
middle
do
there,
that.
Beth, of the
Fieldman
fieldman.
or one clerk?
What is a GIS?
I'd add two
technician?
fieldmen probably for now.
I mean,
Where does that?
Hey, Philman's fine, yeah, commercial/residential appraisal. A GIS tech is, someone that will do the lower level mapping type stuff, not somebody that's tasked with, higher level data analysis, things like that.
Okay. Here's what I'd suggest on this. Let's continue and see where we end up, because there are a bunch of other, if there's some room, we can improve.
What dollar did you want to use for the two?
Was it 42,000? I think that was what the.
What are you talking about with?
40, yeah, 40.
I don't know, that's our clerk, that's not for a field for that.
Oh, what's for a fieldman?
I didn't have it.
On the Burris survey, they're more like 58.
Talking about a real property appraiser?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's only showing the, a median for 7 to 10
Well,
years.
you don't need a real one, you need a commercial one.
Well, I need a real commercial, yes.
What's that showing?
At 7 to 10 years, that's the only data we have, and it's 58.
All right, let's
Real
go with
property
that.
appraiser.
Let's go with 58 for both of those. I mean, that's gonna.
Personal property appraiser is a 47, clerk is a 42, chief deputy at 105.
It's not personal, it's real at least.
Yeah.
She had
So let's
copied
go.
that line across and add 58 there twice. Then copy the one above this line across and just change the start date and it'll get it.
I know. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be more like 75.
Yeah, go do both of them, 58.
It is what it is, and. Okay.
We're trying to fulfill. That's our obligation, we got our due.
Let me look across both of the kick your rid.
That's what we do. Okay.
Can you look across and see if we picked up all these minutes? Oh, yeah, we just gotta get rid of this. Start dates.
What's this supposed to be?
58 for both of them.
For the GIS tech, is it?
Oh, I don't know, what do you wanna put for GIS Tech?
I mean, that's not on the thing. It's a lower level position, that's not 58.
Okay.
The GIS tech is on the Burris survey, but it's under information system.
What did it have?
He's,
It's
61.
just actually 61,623.
$29.63 per hour.
About 60.
He's right. Three.
That's the, the median start rate is 53.
Yeah.
And that's your new position, so I would start at 53.
All right.
My recommendation.
Let's do that.
53 for the GIS Tech.
Yes.
That's the bottom of it, not the top. Do the other way around.
Let's take a look at where we're at after we're done with this. 'Cause it's gonna add a good bit.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's gonna add about $140,000.
Yep, it's gonna add a lot.
No, it's not that, it's 160,
No, we got more.
167,000.
So we're, okay.
We're not cutting some of these new positions.
It's about 188 now, but
All right, so let's go. How can I?
Beth, can you click on the risk management, make sure it looks like it's in line after we did those adjustments? After those adjustments were made earlier. Yeah. Compared.
We could pull,
Yeah, still
we
pretty
could
good
pull
up there.
slightly more out of capital.
You already pulled two, or yeah, there's some money
I
capital.
mean, we could pull, I wouldn't wanna start pulling too much from that, cause we wanna use that capital to plug back into
Debt service and
debt
much you heard
service.
out about schools, maybe building 5 years.
So I mean, I wouldn't wanna pull much more out of it, maybe a little bit, but not much. Maybe 2,000, maybe 200,000.
You know, 200,000 more to property
Debt service?
No, not from debt service to capital, from capital into general.
Or to move a portion of Denny?
Yes. But I don't wanna go too much more than that, cause remember, we're gonna take that capital and plug it back into debt service next year. So I don't wanna go crazy with it.
Yeah. Probably just gotta go back.
So that should even us out.
It's just whatever, my number do.
It's $200,000 different.
Take
Okay.
2 from each one.
Now let's take a look at where we're at. Let's see where it gets real tight. Okay, so we're back basically even now. Okay.
What about his 2 trucks?
Oh, okay, that would come out of capital.
That's different.
That's different.
Okay.
I'm, you know, well, we can do line by line, do we want to do the trucks? Capital is a little easier, I'm less concerned about that.
Okay, no, I want to do whatever way makes.
Well, do
most
you
sense.
want to, I mean, do we want to address it? Do we want to take a motion on giving buying 2 trucks?
Well, he was asking for more money for some of his people too, so I don't know where we're going.
How long does this take? I guess the assessor's office has been not in compliance with state law.
Probably a couple of years at least.
A couple of years?
So we'll just, let's leave this here.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I'll make a motion to set aside $80,000 from capital for 2 vehicles.
For the 2 trucks.
I'll set aside, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
One no, that one passes, so. Okay, let's move on to,
Thank you all.
thank you, clerk and master. He wasn't really asking for too much, I think. What was he asking for?
We'll have to look and see, where's the sheet at?
Payroll box.
I think it's about 60,000 maybe, give or take, but.
Yeah, he
May
was
not be
wanting
quite that much.
to bring some
Maybe
wages up.
But I didn't think it was all that.
Where are we I'm at like a no, we're done at this point.
I mean, you wanna make that motion?
I don't mind, because, I mean, where are we on balancing the budget, where we were? I mean, they're coming back and asking for requests, but I just, how much more are we gonna be, I mean, hundreds of thousands more are we adding?
Well, I had a couple, but I didn't think it was most of this
I don't
is,
know how much his was.
I mean, it would be about another 50,000 total from what I was gonna ask.
Talking about for like
Across
salaries?
the board for some salary changes, about
So
50,
where-
75,000.
Okay.
Trying to find marks, I've moved stuff around so much right now.
Literally, because I wanted to do it
You have
this
a
way.
copy of the clerk of master's office.
And we can, I mean, I was just kind of keeping a tally, not giving everything that was asked for here, but, this the assessor property came up way more than I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's what.
I wanted to see if we could do 10,000 more for salary for, assessor, or for clerk and master. Do the drones for EMA, 12,000 more for EMS, for their,
If you want to do 10,000 for the clerk and master, we could just stick it in one of his employees, because he's got a right to adjust.
yeah, that's what, so here's.
Because he can adjust them where he sees fit.
What I'm suggesting here is not big numbers. I'll go like, first I'll add them all up, and then we can look at them. So it's gonna be 10,000 for clerk and master. First I'll do the salaries, and then I'll come back to some of the other things. 10,000 for clerk and master, 12,000 for EMS, 18,000 for sheriff's department. There was a very specific problem I'm trying to solve for there. It's not as much as what they wanted, but basically I've made this motion a couple times. Their top level people all got cut to below 10,000. So you got people who were at like 9,500, and then you got the guys who were at 10,000 drop down to 5,000. So I wanted to give 18,000 for them to adjust that up. So I make, hold on just a second. 15, 10, 18, so that is 32, 33, 12 brings us to 12,000 for the EMS would bring us to 45, and that was it for the salary changes, so $45,000 in total difference.
I'm gonna make a motion for IT, I guess if we reduce Robert's salary to do his request.
I'm good with that. Second. All right, go ahead and do this. That's your motion.
Just for IT, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
So I second that.
So is that what he was wanting?
Just do what he, just
He
net- it's
wanted
net
to
net.
take his COLA and give it
Oh,
to his
just,
people.
I wasn't expecting the session property, so, and
It's-
then we're trying
it's
to
net
balance his
net.
budget.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that one's taken care of. So I'm gonna go down here. So for your assessor property, for clerk and master, I want to make an amendment to add $10,000
Just add it to one of his.
Overall budget, well, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna, I haven't done, I've gotten it, I'm just gonna do his drawings. So, but we're doing salaries first, so, $10,000. This is, I'm gonna put it up for vote, so don't adjust it yet until it gets a vote. My motion is to, do an additional $10,000 to the clerk and master, to one of his salary line items, which you can adjust. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye. No, Beth, I would just.
All opposed?
No.
No.
Mr. Brown?
State your motion.
So it's, I'm basically gonna give the clerk and master $10,000 more in salary that he can distribute, among his folks. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. You put it toward a line item,
Just put it toward
they
the first
can,
line.
they can adjust it anyway.
I'll go ahead.
All right, that one passes.
Add it to that first one. please.
For EMS, I want to make a motion to add $12,000 for the same thing. This would go, what I did, I came to that one because I added basically, we cut all of his top line people back to nothing. I went on and said, all right, let's add like 1250 or something like that. I was doing a little bit of math. It comes out to about, yeah, we could just do it here.
That's one
Do
line
it
item,
assist
isn't
and
it?
then let him break it out.
Yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and do 1250 for each of these.
1,200 or 12,000?
1,200, $1,250
Oh, okay.
for each of those.
Yeah, they're above market.
I know. I mean, we don't have to vote for it. This is gonna be my, that's my, my motion is to make that change. Is there a second? Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, those go away. Next one is, I didn't actually take good notes on the ECC. I'm gonna go down to the sheriff's office.
ECC asked to move the directors back to 125 and add back in one of the cut positions.
How much is?
Click up on there, it was moved down to 115,756, and then they also asked to have the quality control officer moved back in.
I don't think we're in a position to have new personnel. I don't think that.
And their concern was they actually advertised that position at 125, the committee did.
Which one?
The one that's 115,756, they advertised it. I think that's one of their concerns. They were doing a national, I think it's a national search, correct?
Yeah, we didn't fill it at 125.
What does anybody want to do on this one?
Remember, at 125, we only pay 40,000.
So what that would be is that times .3.
You're paying about $3,000.
So it's not that, all right, you know what?
So we're asking for 3,000
We're asking for
more.
about 3,000.
It's a revenue flow.
I'll make a motion to change that.
Let's make it.
Motion in a second. Change that to 125, of which that's only net for us of about $3,500.
Oh, because we
Because we're
only
only
pay
paying
a third.
30.
So I'll make that motion. Motion, we have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I think it'd be important if y'all can consider that QC director, we really need that over DCC, and again, it's .32.
How much is a QC director? Let's come back to that one. Let me get through the rest of these.
It
and see where they go.
was, I think 52,726 for the salary plus with the benefits.
So it would be about $20,000 all in, wrapped.
Well, you gotta have the
25.
benefits.
Yeah, 25.
Give or take.
So let's, before we do that, let me get through the rest of these that I have some stuff lined out, and if they're gonna go up or they're gonna go down. So we did EMS, that did not go, we did one change on ECC, we're gonna come back to that. The next one is, for the sheriff's department, one thing I'd like to do is, provide 18,000. Actually, let's just do this way. I did that math, but if you go up, I'm gonna do this one more time. I think I know how the votes are gonna go, but back again. If we would go to their staff, when we made those changes to the top level, there were guys that were at $10,000 that got cut down they got cut in half. So that was one, scroll down, that was one.
It's all the blue ones.
So what I would like to do, and I'd like to get the number on it, I would like to bring all of those up to 10,500. So it's just above the threshold of where they were cut from, and just see what that difference is.
We did that because they were already at 150.
I know that.
Okay.
I know why we're doing it.
I'm just making sure everybody
I mean, you're gonna
remembers
get to
that.
vote against it, it's cool. So-
Yeah, you might want to vote before you do that, because it's
Well,
going to take a lot of changes.
How much, I do want to know what the total amount's gonna be. What's gonna be, can we take a?
You have to go change every one of those manually.
Well, I can do it in my head, a lot of it anyway. So that's 4,000 times, scroll down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep going, is that it? 9, 10, 11, 12. No, it's not these, it's not these, actually, so it's 4,000 times 28, so it's pretty considerable.
It's about 5,000.
It's, 4,000 times, yeah, 4,000.
Plus benefits.
4,000 times 28. I can't do it, man. I thought I could.
I make a motion to deny.
All right, we have a
Well, it's not that
motion.
much, 4,000 times.
Times 28, that's at least what?
4,000 times 28.
28.
Yeah, it is.
It's 100, it'd be about 150,000 bucks. All
Plus
in.
benefits.
Yeah, no, that's with benefits.
$2,000.
With benefits. 150,000 bucks is what it would be. Okay, so I mean, yes, but we're getting tight. So we have a motion to deny this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. All right, is what it is.
0 for sheriff.
No change for the sheriff. I'm guessing, is there a point in time to take a vote for the court security lieutenant? I think that we can go with that one. All right, the security lieutenant. I mean, that is its own unit over there.
You're adding a new position.
Well, we could make one of those positions.
The
lieutenant.
security lieutenant, where is that?
For the court. We could make one of those positions lieutenant.
How much does that mean?
But then it takes away from somewhere else.
Well, no, you just take that, you make one of those positions lieutenant, so that one would bump up a little bit, but they still have
But
the
then does somebody
total.
lose their job because you gotta hire
No, I
somebody
mean, we're
more
still
qualified?
hiring for that. We're still hiring, they're still hiring for those positions, we're still bringing those on. So what I'm suggesting there is we make one of the existing security officers a lieutenant.
Oh, I want to ask the
Yeah.
sheriff's department if that's even workable.
Well,
What's the reason?
is the sheriff here?
Chief deputy, but they might ask.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Would that help you at all to make one of the deputies at the courthouse a lieutenant?
No, we really would need both, because you have to have the deputy in his position and then the lieutenant supervisor, right?
I mean, I get it, I'm just trying to find something that's gonna get through here.
I appreciate that.
All right, well, let's just move on then, thanks, appreciate it. Okay,
Bring us back under.
I'll bring us under the rules here. So, let's go back to the ECC, those were really, all the changes there that were for salaries. There's a bunch of other stuff, but it's for, capital. So let's do the ECC. If we were to add that position, it'd be about
Did you do
40,000. Circuit.
That's all.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't do circuit court, my bad. Yeah, so I wanted to make an adjustment there, to provide, it's basically a $10,000, adjustment up that the circuit court clerk could adjust as she sees fit. Alternately, I see her point here, right? Like, the little guys are getting less than the big ones. The other thing we could do is basically make them all 1,500s to even it out. That's one thing to do. I mean, I'm good with either of them, but I see her point.
I think that's a good solution.
Like, so basically you add all of this up and you evenly distribute it. among all those blues.
Keep it net neutral.
Yeah, it would be net neutral, but it evens that out. I would like to give her,
She can
you
do
know,
that anyway.
10,000
Yeah,
more.
she can do that anyway, she doesn't need
That's
it.
her
She
right.
can, but like, just to have it on there this way, let's just
So
do it
moved.
that way. All right.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Because if we put it on her, we went through all this, we put it on her, I mean, there's no way for her to like, she's gonna be having to rob Peter to pay Paul, so we'll do that for her.
Next.
Okay, so now, I'd make, this is all capital stuff, so this is one time, I'd make a motion for, what is it, $40,000 for drones? I'd make that motion.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries.
The mayor's.
I'll make a motion for the, EMS, the EMA, truck for, what was it, how many trucks?
Just one.
It's just one? $40,000 for a truck.
It's gonna be more than 40,000.
No.
You gotta get the heavy duty, the 450.
Yours is 79,
Those big
wasn't it?
trailers.
Okay, so $80,000 for a truck, that's the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
No way.
Opposed?
Just picked up $100.
All right. So those both, was there any no's on the
Keep
truck?
that 70, 80 on there, but.
All right, so good on that one. So carryover, so I'd make a motion to carry over the archives. This is just a carryover. How much was that?
Well, he needed to carry over the 40-some thousand, but we also need to look about the actual roof itself, which is estimated to be somewhere around 200,000.
I think,
It's not gonna be that much.
well, we can set aside.
Yeah, we can
aside 200.
set aside.
Can we just put the architectural in, and since
Secure,
there'll be a
right?
reserve, bring it
Well,
back after
40,000 is
it's
carry over.
Either one.
So the motion I'm gonna make here is to carry over
No.
40, go ahead.
So it's 44,000 and then up to 24, so 156,000 would be a new appropriation.
That would, so yeah,
All
so it would
kinds
be
of
up to
Up
200,000.
to 200 total.
Up to
Yeah.
200,000 total, that's my motion.
Yeah.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Greenway repairs.
44,650, and it's been damaged a while, they've been trying to fix it, and it's.
I'll make this motion, I don't know if it's gonna go or not.
Okay, so is it, just so I understand, this is at Long Hollow and Station Camp?
Yes, it's the one that's at the house down there, it's at the,
At the
Douglas Clark House, all the way
Yeah.
down to, there was flooding that damaged the concrete quite a while back. That was
All right.
appropriated a couple years back.
I'll make,
Yep.
I'll make a motion for this. Is there a second?
What-
Motion and a second, go ahead.
What's gonna be done? Is that a
So
question?
it's just
Concrete,
It's just
you gotta
repairing
fix the
concrete.
abutment there and the culvert so that water can flow.
The culvert that gets overflowed every time, the brand new one?
And you can go down through that, things
And then
utilized.
Not down on that end, on the other end.
On Deborah's end, or?
Yeah, no, the opposite end.
Oh, way down at the end of the, okay.
And that thing's utilized quite a bit when it's warm, you
Yeah,
see people
yeah,
everywhere.
okay.
All right, any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, motion fails. I knew that was gonna happen. Motion for,
The ADA.
oh yeah, so rolling acres. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You need those two, Beth. I've got
Motion
mine.
carries. $100,000
Here you go, there's two sheets here.
Are we keeping the 150 with something different?
Which 150?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bid was
they
like
never said to
90.
remove it, so.
All right, I'll make a motion for up to $100,000 for security camera. Motion in a second. All in
We need to
favor?
remove those
Aye.
estimated expenditures.
All right,
from that.
so.
Did they approve the cameras?
Approve the cameras.
Bet they put 100,000 in for the cameras.
All right, so the big one here, motion for up to $2 million for courthouse renovations. I so move.
Second.
Motion in a second. Any discussion on this? There may want to be some.
I mean, this is a not to exceed, right?
Right.
But John, have we gotten any decent estimates from our previous, has anybody talked to Turner? Because we know we
Well,
bought
we had
all-
what Turner, I think, was like 1.75.
Yeah, but they have the breakdowns of the contracts of the cabinetry and
Right.
paneling and everything. I was just wondering if Kim or anybody had broken it down that way.
Well, that's, when we bid it out, we'll have some of that to be sole source, so we'll have to use those vendors.
Yeah.
But, we probably can get it under 2 million. I would
Gosh,
think.
I sure hope, I'm hoping we get it under a million.
So, once we get it drawn out by the architect and get all of
Well,
that done.
let's
Why
talk
do we
about
need to
that.
do
Why
that?
would
It's
we
already
need it
done.
drawn out if it's already drawn?
Yeah, it's already drawn. All we do is
Because it
just.
says you
I'll
gotta
write
have
the laws.
estimates. and
Well, but it's the same
that Same
space.
goofy estimates. They said they have to have estimates and there's a whole checklist of things.
And
architect
this
engineers-
wasn't a build out in the original plan, so this is like starting over.
I know, but isn't that space the exact same size as another one?
It is.
Very similar.
But my same point, they have a good lobbyist. You need to get your association involved to see if they can rewrite that law. It's terrible.
This is insane.
It says they've got a whole little checklist of things that have to be done over there for an architect or engineer. And is it really necessary? I don't think, you think it's necessary, John? Maybe neither one of you.
No,
I don't think it's
That was a
necessary.
good old boy network. I got my architect friend that's gonna get
Well,
paid.
I mean,
So, but that's where we are with it. We'll save wherever we can, and we'll be working with Gen Ops on it, but.
Any,
at
any
the
other
end of the
discussion on
day-
this
We're just
one?
trying to follow the rules of the laws.
I know.
Any other discussion on this one?
Will that come with the project manager?
If you guys want to appropriate some money, we hire one, but I don't think you need
All,
it.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
No.
All right, motion carries. 4-2. Okay.
Oh,
No, Mr. John called, so.
okay, thank you.
Who'd
Hey,
you
I'm sorry, the vehicle.
Oh, yes.
Vehicle.
So, how much was it?
I think 40,000.
All right,
think.
I move to approve $40,000 for new vehicles.
With the state bid
Motion
on
and
it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed?
I think you said 40,000.
It's 40,000.
Did insurance not? I mean, if you
We're
read.
self-insured.
We're
Oh,
self-insured.
self-insured, okay.
And we got 25 deductible and it's going to 100.
What was
July
it,
1st is on
44?
40,000.
For what?
A vehicle.
He did.
All right.
Maintenance.
Are there any other
The head of
changes
maintenance.
that anybody would like to make here? Okay, so we've done ARPA. So we've done budget draft number 6. This will be budget draft
And the
number
local
7.
revenues.
Local revenues. Let's,
What now? Oh, do we want to add in the 12,000 and 12,000 plus 250 for the tens for the beach lot and striker with the strip?
oh, yes, I'll move to add that in.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, let's look at local revenues.
Two
Now that we have our-
things. Number one, there's a local revenue sheet in your packet, but we've made some changes tonight. I'll make those changes on this sheet when we do the allocation of the tax rate. Miss Allison has a packet J here. Needs to pass out, that actually has your estimated certified tax rate at this point. And I will provide you with the allocations based on this budget and what was provided to the school department.
So why do we have these?
I had them, but it was changed tonight.
Is that if everything went through?
And I still gotta wait on
So
pilots.
it's moot now?
So two things you probably need to, be aware of. When I look at the certified rate, there's enough that's going to fit our budget, but I'm gonna have to do a little reallocating around because the pilot agreements are a little different. And the overall, there's, you have local revenue, you have property tax, in lieu, payments in lieu, and utilities. The amounts will be fine, but the allocations are a little different.
What is our 1.42?
421, I believe. It's on page.
I don't see it. Here it is. Right here. Yeah, we'll do that in the back. Yeah, 1.421. Very low tax rate. Okay.
The next one's your tax levy resolution. We have one in there, but we don't have the percentages because it changes tonight in the finalization of this. What I would recommend, because right now, because the school's budget was not approved, you're not gonna be able to approve the budget in August. So I'd say we'll bring back the breakdown based on this budget to the committee in August to send forward to the commission. We don't have it
I'm
tonight.
good with that. That makes sense.
We
Do
don't
we need to
know.
have a resolution here for the tax levy?
No, it's the tax levy resolution. We have it here, but we don't have the breakdown.
Oh, I see.
So send it back in
Yeah.
August and we'll
I see.
bring the breakdown.
What was the prior year tax rate?
2.252.
Hey, is there
Or 2.25.
we need to do with this committee
So-
and commission and having to move commission?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that next.
Okay,
Supposed to be
That'll be under the publication.
okay.
That's how much the commission raised.
Then it
the
would
tax
have
rate.
been like 1.28.
No, it would have still been this.
No, it would have been one, because.
Commission raised the tax rate.
That's what I'm saying, if it was at 1.9, and then. that-
They raised it to 2.6.
Right, but if it would have stayed at 1.9, then it would have come down way below this. Because that amount would have been divided by the total property, so it would have been like 1.2 something.
It shows how crazy.
Okay, and then the other one is the appropriation resolution, we'll adjust it for tonight. The nonprofit one, we'll adjust it based on the budget adjustments tonight.
And then publication.
Then, two things you probably need to vote for, anything that you've approved tonight that may not be in the budget, we will get it in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
One is, okay. The next one's the publication, here's where you're gonna run into why you cannot have it in, July 29th. School board budget was voted down, so it goes directly to county commission, but I need the budget they're gonna send to county commission, so that means the school board's gonna need to vote on it. They have 10 business days from tonight to provide that to us. We've got to have the publication to meet 10, they have 10 business days. To meet the requirement of 10 days before the county commission, before you approve it, we have to have it tomorrow at noon, so that can't happen. They're not gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning. And let's get back to, so you really need to consider, do you want to have your budget the third Monday or the fourth Monday in August? See if they can
If we
do
do the fourth Monday.
The fourth Monday is
It's
August 26th.
Yeah, that would.
And that's the same as the commission.
You can't.
No, I'm sorry, you have your budget on time, I'm saying, ask if you do the commission, do you want to do it on the third or fourth?
I would say
Commission
let's
the fourth,
let's do the
August
fourth,
26th.
let's bump it.
Well, you won't be here the 19th.
Yeah, and that's,
I'll be
and
the
one,
19th.
that's helpful, and two, it gives everybody a maximum amount of time to get all their stuff in.
Budget committee is on the 12th.
So does this one need to meet the 12th then?
Yeah, we still meet the 12th.
Yeah. That keeps
But
it
then
budget.
we bump the full commission off to give the school board time to get
Yeah.
something back to us.
They give us that 10 days and I can get the stuff to publish
Yeah,
it,
we didn't do the
so.
budgets until August.
So what I'll do based on you guys' approval tonight is we'll publish what you've done tonight, basically get the final numbers. And when the director of schools provides me his budget, I'll include it in there and we'll go ahead and publish as soon as possible.
All right.
And I'll contact Scott after his, 10 business days to get to asking for it. Because if he don't provide it 10 business days, then we'll run with the one he provided tonight, even if it is the wrong one, because we gotta have it within 10 business days. And he's aware of that.
I don't wanna throw a monkey wrench in all this, but we did agree to go back and look at the QC person for the ECC.
Oh, we did do
I think
that.
they did.
We
I
did
think
do
it's
that.
about, what, a
Because it was,
$25,000 hit.
well, yeah, we've been about $40,000 fully.
I thought you guys
wrapped.
voted it.
$40,000 fully wrapped.
I think it's an important position that we've needed for a while.
What, can you describe what they do?
Well, they basically quality control 911 calls.
Quality control 911 calls.
Yeah, you're constantly monitoring those calls for accuracy, making sure that the person's following through, doing everything correctly.
So we don't have anybody doing that?
Not really. I mean, we do,
I'll
but
move,
we
it's
don't.
$40,000.
You know, in construction, we used to have a working foreman. He actually swung a hammer too. Can you have a working
Yeah, but I mean, I
call
look at this
receiver?
from software development. You don't want to have the people writing your code also testing your code ideally. Yes, some do. But like, that's the way I kind of look at it. You don't want to have the person doing the audits, being the person on the phone.
And they're already strapped.
Well, I know the turnover's horrible.
So,
When they
yeah,
initially
it's-
set this department up, there was a lot of issues and it's been dealt with over the years, but they're growing, that's.
I'm gonna make it's $40,000. I think we can swing it. I'm gonna make a motion to add that. It's 52.
Plus benefits, but we're only paying 32% of that, so put
Yeah.
in with the benefits and then times .32 on the far line, they can see
So
what
do
they're doing.
it fully wrapped and then times 1.3.
On that far side and let them see what
So
it
it should be,
actually is.
it should be like 35,000. It shouldn't be that much.
When they originally set this up, there was a whole lot of quality control issues. And it's been dealt with over the years, but
They're getting better, yes.
it's, with them growing, it's probably,
$25?
Is that wrapped?
$25,000?
Is that-
benefits and everything, that's your
Okay,
32%.
so I move to add that. Motion and a second. And this would be what we would be putting in for a QC person. Motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Anything else?
Just right now, did you actually vote for me to go ahead and publish it?
I'll move to
So
publish.
moved.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's do this.
Receiving a new education or going off the old one after 10 days.